like new angles and also doing the black hair and the hydrangeas around the horn.
Black Hair Club.
Yeah.
I need to do my usual copy and paste my notes on Google Docs because I didn't get a chance to print them off, even though I've been in the library non-stop.
Robbie's starting to get annoyed with me making noise, so he might leave.
I think this is not what I signed up for.
Aren't we all? What? Who said that? Not me.
One day I will destroy you.
I think you're going to destroy someone. I don't think it's going to be me.
Oh no.
I had my own self-destruction long ago. I am merely a weapon.
Making my face very red. Whew. Whew.
Are you okay?
Yeah, yes, I am very okay. I've never been this okay in my entire life. I guarantee it.
I'm sorry. I've apologized so much for something I haven't even done.
It's okay.
You could avert it.
Okay, I had...
I'm gonna go to real quick.
Old G.
Once I copy and paste this.
You could theoretically, Thomas, run away.
I could have... I had so many chances. So many chances to prevent it from escalating. But, yeah.
You could knock him out, and then you have another day of not being confronted.
Oh, you mean like that?
Just smack him.
Has Neff figured out why she did the thing that she did?
Well, okay, I know why she did the thing that she did, but that's a pretty interesting question.
Because Slia's not accepting the non-answer of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was feeling emotion. That's just my reaction. The way I deal with things. I can relate, but Brian can't.
I'm gonna say maybe she doesn't really fully understand why she reacted the way she did. That makes things interesting. And that's probably in character.
This is gonna be real fun.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be bad. I'm making it as terrible for myself as I possibly can at this point.
Why are you doing this? Why do you want to... Are you a masochist? Like, seriously?
I think D&D's turning me into one. I feel you a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Every Sunday I'm like, time for trauma.
It's like, is Neff that self-aware that she knows why she... It's like, probably not. I mean, if she was self-aware enough to realize... Because if she was, then she probably wouldn't have made those decisions in that instance.
Does Neff realize that... Does Neff see why what she did was bad?
Yes, but probably not to the extent that it actually was.
In that case, we need to have a discussion.
Probably.
I don't know why I'm saying this pointing a stick at you, but I feel like it's slightly more threatening.
Oh yeah, we're also, I think for the first time, we're a headphone squad now.
Hey!
Yeah!
What up?
Heck yeah.
That was a bit musical. A little bit.
This is making we should have a musical episode.
Musical episode for all.
Or we just randomly break into like song.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! And the game is, whoever can break into the most songs in the session gets a magical item at the end of it for their real character.
What? Oh my god, yes, let's do it.
Oh.
I'm ready to
Get
make
the
a fool of
stakes
myself.
up high, and you just gotta keep going until you can't stop.
I
What if we
walk
every
through the door.
Just
Queen
prep
Image, do you wanna
musicals.
prep a million songs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to send. Right, okay, so I'll tell you why I was late, low key. It's a bit. We went to go see some baby goats. And
Okay,
have
you know what,
coffee in a
that's-
farm.
That's perfect. Like,
That's fair.
I mean,
Let me
baby
show
goats,
you.
that's the best reason.
Let me show you this little boy. He ate all of our hair and all of our clothing. Oh no. Is it
Very bleached out. Oh, I can kind of sort of see a little bit.
Okay, I'll send it to the chat, never mind.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We saw some little baby goats and we petted them, we hugged them, and it was amazing. We saw some little pigs and we petted those. There were some chickens which tried to block our escape.
Oh, chickens are hilarious.
And then, yeah, it was great content. It was a turkey who went, bah, 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 bah. You know, turkey noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I've never seen a real life turkey before. Dice time. There we go.
Oof.
So that was, yes.
When I was young, we
Okay.
had turkeys and chicken and a duck.
That's amazing. Did you grow up on a farm?
No,
Oh,
I
sounds
do
fun.
have family that is farmers, so
Yeah.
I have
I grew up on
family
a farm.
farm. It looked
Yeah.
awesome, actually. The farm that we went to, it was like right in the wilderness. It felt like the Shire. Like, and the reason that I actually went there, I wasn't even supposed to go there. I was supposed to go to church this morning, and then church was cancelled. And then instead, my friend was like, "I'm going to a farm instead," and I was just like, "Yeah, that sounds like what I want to do right now." And so in my haze, I like walked up, and then she was just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna go, and animals will be there. It'll be great." It was great.
Well,
Seems legit.
sounds like it was an enjoyable experience.
It was.
Yeah.
It was very unexpected, but like the best things are. Much like
Unexpected
how
journey.
this game is gonna go.
Some
I
of the
feel like
worst things are pretty unexpected too. Well,
Well,
Let me just
Well-
get my.
and here we find ourselves today.
Also, just a reminder,
Okay.
Slia does have a response to Loran's joke.
okay. Right, so do we
See if
want to
you can
roll
top
for recap, or do we need a recap, or...
I mean,
If I'm rolling again for recap and I get it like for whatever time in a row, I'm gonna recap the one show that we did.
I don't have any notes, which is gonna be a problem, but we can try.
do y'all want me to just recap? Because I've got some good notes.
Sure, yeah.
Sure thing. I have no objection to that.
Do you want me
I
recapping
also-
Saturday and Sunday, or just Sunday?
I feel like we only really need Sunday,
Okay.
don't you think? I mean, unless you guys want both.
I'm
It
okay
is.
with both.
Both could be
personally.
funny, both could be funny.
In the roundabout. Okay, so Saturday, we pick up where we left off. We can't heal or do anything yet. Randall deals with the dead. Lunette is burned and has to be convinced not to give Faye into the dogs, but eventually allows her to be burned as well. Proud moment right there.
Get on.
Heals can be done back in the main hall. The Slyan'ssun accepts the results of the ritual combat and turns from blue to red. Randall notices Bluey's arms. And we go back into the camp for negotiations. Brian discloses to Loran and Slia in Sylvan that the room is the one from his vision of fire and blood with Karul. And Brian refuses to go into the room. Out of desperation, he asks Randall if he knows Karul. Apparently, Randall and Karul are allies. Bum, bum, bum.
Dodge.
Randall finally agrees to move us to a smaller room, which is like a war room. Slia has a chat with the Empress about Odyssey. Brian scries for Karul, but can't make a connection for whatever reason. But he is on our plane. Brian asks Loran about making a teleportation circle, and Slia asks Halfus about Fala. Neff and Bluey go to talk to Jibakari.
And then it begins.
Jibakari offers to make a deal with them to help us instead of the Dunes. Neff gets mad, goes off on Jibakari.
That's
And
one way to put
it's
it.
roll initiative time. It's roll initiative time, lads. That is exactly word for word what is written in my summary. Neff uses word of recall, and Jibakari is willing, in all caps. Neff banishes Jibakari.
I'm surprised that worked, to BH.
Mhm.
Bluey summons Sobek to them. My mouse got a little bit overeager.
Yup.
Loran starts making a teleportation circle. Brian gets a message in his mind from Karul that he wants Randall Payne's eye. In exchange, he will give... Or he wants what's behind Randall Payne's burnt-out eye. In exchange, he'll give either 3 truthful answers to questions of Brian's choosing or Ender, and he initially chooses Ender. Sobek pops in, makes a magic mansion. Bluey and Neff explain what's going on. Jibakari poofs back, and a surprise, there is Fala as well. Bluey negotiates with Jibakari for peace, while Neff just continuously banishes herself.
Forgot about that. Oh, that was great.
Oh boy.
Jibakari gets the Winter Palace, and Bluey and Neff get to live. The original deal is off the table.
Bluey and Neff get to live.
Yep.
That's how it felt, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually it. So they could have ended you, Jibakari.
Fala convinces Jibakari to let Bluey get some of their stuff from the palace, so that's all in
Yup.
Sobek's bag. Neff tied the pirate costume around herself so she doesn't run off at the mouth.
She had some sensible
Brian-
ideas throughout this like crazy ordeal.
Yep. Brian, remembering what Sarazar had told us, reopens the channel of communication with Karul and picks the questions.
Why'd he do that?
You originally picked Ender, and then you changed your mind to the questions.
I have it written down. I can find the receipts, but I'll do that
Sure.
Brian takes Slia over to talk about the possibility of hold person while, and now we're on to Sunday, while Loran makes the teleportation circle. Karul initially is like, hey, what the fuck? Who said you could tell anyone? And Brian's like, I wasn't gonna, chill out.
That's exactly how they talk to each other.
Yep,
Yup.
word for word out of my summary. Slia's realized that Neff and Bluey have been gone too long and asks Halfus how long the negotiations usually take, and instead he offers to take her down to check on Neff and Bluey. Not suspicious at all. Halfus tries to do hold person on Slia multiple times. She runs away
Two
and nearly
times.
escapes. Twice. Okay, two
Not
times.
that much, but
That is a multiple
like more.
of 2 and
Yeah.
1.
it felt
Yep.
like more from my side of the table.
Slia was just rolling really well. She wanted to get away, which honestly might have been the smartest thing.
He can use the reason you had to roll so many times, because thinking about it and it looks very suspect. I'll explain it to you in full. Is because he can use a certain ability to enforce disadvantage on the roll, and then once per day he can force you to re-roll in reaction to someone succeeding as a spell. So you could do it, even though it sounded like really suspect. It was legit. I promise. Okay.
No,
Please
I wasn't
continue.
suspect of it at all.
For
But
sure.
it did
I felt
confirm
weird,
the
though.
thing it confirmed the thing which I had figured out, which is it's like, okay, this is when he said, I'm not, Fala's magic was weird to him. I was like, oh, he's not a cleric. That means he must be a sorcerer or something else.
Or a
Who
mix.
knows?
And this is me thinking before even realizing that this was Karul. So,
For sure.
I have just way too much. I have an inordinate amount of knowledge.
You're doing
about this
good.
game.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I really, really appreciate your knowledge base, actually.
Okay. So yeah, Halfus tries to do hold person on Slia more than once.
Mhm.
And she runs away, still feeling like that was a great idea. She nearly escapes, but gets charmed just as she makes it out and warns Sarazar and Lorella that Neff, Bluey, and Jibakari are gone. But she can't say that she is attacked.
Mhm.
Brian gets Randall Payne alone. He asks what's behind his burnt-out eye, and if he trusts his allies. Randall Payne is surprised that Brian is expressing concern over him. Because as many times as Randall Payne says, hey, we're enemies, we're just not getting the message.
Yeah, you guys were really adamant of trying to be his friend.
Yeah,
Recurring
Or
D&D
just-
theme across all campaigns across the globe.
yeah. Unless someone straight out attacks us, I guess we're gonna be friends with them.
Or at
Yeah.
least not gouge out their eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Randall Payne, nope. So Brian casts Hold Person, fails. Randall Payne becomes all dragony and attacks but shows restraint. Brian manages to talk him down out of his hostile stance. And then Brian does a sneaky Hold Person and succeeds and then puts him in the locket.
Where he currently resides.
Yes, where he is still residing.
Still
Yep.
there.
Lorraine, Slia, and Brian run to the teleportation circle, but Brian and Slia get cut off by a wall of fire and Karul. Karul tells us that he doesn't need
Karul.
Brian or Slia, so we can just die. But he needs Neff, and we'll find a use for Bluey. Brian creates a tidal wave to open up the way to the teleportation circle again. Karul sees Loran and attacks him. Sarazar tackles Karul. Slia casts Hold Person on Karul, and Loran dimension doors to Sarazar, grabs him, and gets him to the circle. Brian magic carpets the circle, and we teleport to the Messiah.
You don't understand the range of emotions I went through when I realised that you guys had brought Lorella Karadamanyazar, the Messiah.
Well, we've also dumped her now in the lap of another part of Brian's family, so that's fun too. She may not have realized that part yet, but
She can't just hate
We'll get
everyone
there.
related to Brian. Like, come on.
This-
I mean,
That is, I think Well, you'll have to wait and see how that goes. There's something written in this book right here it says death slad, but I thought it was death salad, and I was just like, sorry.
I like that
It's
better.
on a chart.
That's a good
I like that
campaign
better.
name, man. Death Salad.
Yeah, death salad. That's like a
Yep.
that's like a group of bards.
I
A
want
group
to
of
see.
crunchy vegan bards.
I want to see Lorella and Marlena like smack down if Lorella like shows any hostility towards Marlena.
I mean,
Oh,
Marlena
yeah.
isn't a fan of Slya as of last time, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, wait. When the last time Marlena and Slya interacted, when was that?
It was when she said, "I need you to cool off," and cast suggestion on her.
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh,
I was thinking.
shoot.
No, I thought you'd gone down to talk to her in the Temple of Bahamut underneath her, but that was Nalaya, and you kept spelling her. Holy shit! It's been a while, dudes. Okay, sorry. Go
Yeah.
on, please.
Oh no. Yeah. Just reminding you of all of our horrible life choices.
Yeah, it's good content.
It could have been
Speaking
worse.
of which, Sobek is reassessing his life choices.
Mhm.
Neff and Bluey have an emotional chat inside the extra-dimensional mansion. Bluey and Sobek contact Brian through the rune after contacting Cass, and that was great. Well, we tell them that we're in the Messiah, and we make plans for them to teleport to us there. And then Brian changes clothes and has a spicy conversation / explanation with his parents. And we get kicked out of the Messiah in like 10 minutes.
It
Brian
was literally
wants-
like a half-hour turnaround.
Okay, sorry, half hour.
No, but that's still like mad short.
Yeah.
I don't want us.
Brian warns Saloon to check for traps, and Slya finds out from Saloon that Ben and Yemek are doing all right. We teleport to Melas and run from the Temple of Carmentran to White Cliff Castle.
On
And
Sarah's
let
a
Sobek. Yeah, I was gonna ignore that.
That's crucial
like-
info.
Yeah. And to be fair, Slya was like, I'm tired and I just want to get somewhere to sleep. So she was like, if nobody else is going to ride Sarazar, then I will, even though I am not going to. I do not like being on
Nobody
horses.
wants to ride Sarah's.
Yeah.
That's really sad. That's really sad.
Especially not
He's got a
Lorella.
lot of horsepower.
Yeah. I mean, Slya is like your good friend. You'll get us there fast. Like that is all that was. So yeah, so we let Sobek know that we're going to be at Whitecliff Castle. We get some sleep because we look like shit. Wake up in time for the arrival of Bluey, Neff, and Sobek because we're back together again and we just can't be bothered for
Yay.
anything else.
Sorry, I just had to like zoom through that. Even if there was shit you wanted to do, I couldn't cope with you all being so far away still.
That's all G.
Leah has Loran make a sanctum and tells Sobek about the Tome of Absolution. Loran suggests that we take a break from adventuring so he can make rings like Neff has so that Karul can't track us, and also because we're getting dangerously close to some nervous breakdowns. So we decide that we're going to go to Eldralith's Watch for that.
Just in time.
Yep.
She's listening.
Hey!
Lorella expresses that we need to get back to Calcar. Ryan's like, we've got Randall Payne in this locket. And Lorella storms off.
Oopsie.
I would like to retcon one thing because
Okay.
I was very much like determined to get everyone together and then to like end it there. But when you returned, Neff, Lorella ran up to you,
I
gave
was
you the
gonna
biggest hug,
say.
and started crying. Okay, she did. She had a big, really emotional reunion with you.
I was thinking about it like,
And
man, my mom just left. She didn't even look at me.
So the reason it just because I'm not gonna lie to you, it completely slipped my mind just because
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
much happened.
I'm on the brink of an emotional
Mutual
breakdown IRL at
aneurysm.
this point. Whew.
Yeah,
At
she
least
loves
someone's
you
hugging
very, very much more than life itself. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so Lorella gives Neff a big crying hug, and then expresses we need to get back to California ASAP. Brian reveals that Randall Payne is in his locket, and Lorella storms off. Bluey and Neff explain what happened with the Sphinx. Slee and Brian explain what happened with Carul, kind of. Loren's like, we've all fucked up. I've got a lot of knowledge. And Slee gets overexcited about information, and it looks like flirting, and Loren plays along, and makes the whole thing worse. and Brian is fuming.
I'm joking, don't hurt me.
I'm joking, don't hurt me. That's the only time I think I've elicited genuine fear from you.
That was a scary face.
I was actually looking away. What was that face?
Oh, it'll be in the recording.
It's kind of like a. Oh, you'll see it. I can't really recreate it. It was like a.
Don't sass Loran. Just stay off that. Okay.
Okay.
What is happening?
Then,
oh my god.
Bluey has a lovely reunion with Finnegan and inquires about IT and the refugees, and Frederick Winterbrand greets us and is like, hey, breakfast.
I love Frederick.
Dad of the year. I love him too.
Slia sees Brian's face and is like, oh, I done a bad. And does have a response to Loren's joke.
Okay. I want to say one more thing. Before we start, the title of this session, which I had written on my document, was The Aftermath of whatever the fuck that was. Because that's all I can deal with. So,
I mean,
Not right.
it's so true.
Loran has his elbow on your shoulder in a friendly way. So what is the response to? He's like, you got competition, haha.
You know, Loren, your jokes are usually so funny. And this was no exception.
Oh
It's so
gosh.
funny that you'd think that we don't know you only have eyes for Brian. And even funnier that you think that you're my type.
Oh!
Oh shit! Oh shit! That was great! Yeah.
The roast.
No, I love that. He's like, fair enough. Elbow up, turns to Brian, elbow down.
Brian looks like he's gonna shove the elbow off, and then he just doesn't. But he's still looking at Neff.
Okay.
Neff is looking down at the ground.
As Frederick comes and offers you breakfast, he directs you towards the keep of Whitecliff Castle. Not Whitestone, that's Critical Role. Whitecliff Castle. Do you follow him?
I want to catch Neff before we eat, because I don't think I can survive a whole breakfast not saying this.
Okay. So, Frederick nods and he's like, well, come join us when you're ready, All-Star. And gives you another pat on the shoulder and walks off, Merlin and Marlena squabbling behind him all the way, whilst Frederick watches with a patient smile.
Oh,
And
God.
you, anyone else in the group going straight to breakfast, or are you going to all sort of watch the Neff smackdown?
No. He's gonna make sure it's private.
Okay, so what is everyone else?
Yes.
Are you guys all going to breakfast then? Or are you going
Yes,
to go to
Leah
something
is following for breakfast.
else? Okay,
And maybe she'll catch up with Frederick on the way.
for
That's
sure.
how
Once
things
Saraza, Loran, I know Saraza's with Lorella. Once Gareth and Loran, what a weird group.
go. Oh, I thought Gareth went
I
with Lorella as well. Oh,
Gareth came back.
Sobek.
Oh
so
fuck.
There's
So
so
bad.
many
That's what I meant.
NPCs.
I need to write my list again. Sobek. So that I don't forget anyone. Gareth. I wish I'd given him a more fantasy name. Loran.
Well, that could be his nickname.
Baz.
Maybe his real name is slightly more fantasy-esque.
Garithadon. No.
Garithadon!
Flower,
Sounds like a transformer.
maybe it's
Marlena.
plenty fantasy for Umbrella.
Umbrella. Oh my gosh. Lorella from Umbrella.
Yeah.
Lorella from Umbrella just met with Marlena. Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
Alright, so I'm leaving this campaign.
Oh my gosh, no! Has anyone seen the rap smackdown of Caleb and Molly
Yeah.
Critical Role?
I haven't
Okay,
yet.
if you haven't seen that, watch it because I'm gonna make a parody of it with Lorella and Brian, or like with like Marlena and everyone's least favorite NPCs.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
actually, can I retcon a thing where I say that,
Yeah.
like, just instead of following Frederick, I'm gonna go grab Lorella and Gareth and Sarazar and make sure that they get breakfast as well.
You'll have to go and find them, but
Yep, I'll
we'll
do
play that
that.
out
We'll do
a
that,
little
yeah.
bit later. Let's start off because I think we can't. Everybody wants to hear this. The
I
ultimate showdown.
I could go without hearing this.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Neff, okay,
So-
she's been staring at the floor until everybody's left, and at this point, once she's alone with Brian, she looks up at him and makes eye contact.
I have notes, so I need to look at them.
So you guys break off from the main group, seeing Slya move off to one side as well, where she believes she saw Lorella and the rest of her retainers go. Are you looking for like maybe that same broom cupboard that Slya went to before? Because that seems to be just like the default place. Or you can go to the Temple of Bahamut, which is
What
underneath
about-
the tent.
Like, is there like an area like up on the barracks? Is somewhere to stand?
Yeah, on the castle walls, there's like, if you go up a small turret, you can come up to the top. It's a sort of circular tower, which is connected to the main wall, which goes around the whole castle on either side. You can walk the whole way, loop around this castle, and you look to your left, and just about 40 feet away is a guard, and then on the other side is like 60 feet away is another one. It's fairly secluded. You're looking out on sort of snowy plains of Whitecliff, looking away from Melas into the country. And you actually do notice now, given the time of the year, the snow is slow. It's a lot less than before. It's beginning to melt ever so slightly as spring comes to a prayer.
Spring.
I'm gonna say also, while we're walking, Neff is gonna temporarily remove the daisy from Brian from her hair and just put it away just for this conversation, I think.
Ouch. Okay. Brian looks very tired, but he wants to do this. He's gonna stop Neff by the wall. And he's just gonna say, Neff, I want to speak to you in private because I don't believe this is something for the rest of the group to hear. Nor would I want to do you any shame in public. But what you did, Neff, I can't so easily forgive you. I hope you can understand when I say that you betrayed us. I know you have no malice in your heart, but your actions cut off the only certain lifeline we had back in that camp. I thought it was well done on your part to think so far ahead and set the word of recall up for us. It was foresight that I admired, and it was you looking out for the party. But you didn't, in the end. You cut us off. You left us to be attacked by Karul. And it was only thanks to Loran that we were able to get away safely. And we don't know whether we will be... You didn't know whether we will be able to pull such a feat off. What you did was like abandoning a sinking ship with the only lifeboat. Karul threatened to kill Slya and me, and he almost killed Loran. I'm sure he would have killed the rest of us too, and only you are useful to him now, with your knowledge of the tome's location. And you've done such things before. I was upset back then, when you acted outside our plan and tackled the gnome into Loran's teleportation circle. But I chose to forgive you, because I thought you would change and that you would grow. But you've proven to me that you haven't. And I just want to let you know that because of this betrayal now and your behavior, I cannot call you my friend. You are my ally, and I respect that, and your family. But I cannot count you as anything more than that. Not until you show me that you can make decisions that take the rest of the party into account, and all our safety. And if you can't do that for me, I hope you can do that for the others. And he just nods and starts walking away.
She's probably okay. If you start walking away, she's not gonna say anything.
He's walking slowly. He looks kind of just defeated, but yeah.
I think she's just gonna kind of nod to herself, but she isn't going to interrupt you.
Brian's going to breakfast.
Neff is gonna take a bit before she goes to breakfast.
Alright. Is there anything you want to do whilst you're up on the wall, Neff?
Yeah, I would cry over the balcony, I think. I'll do a little bit of that once Brian's out of earshot. Just gonna think about her decisions.
Think about your life choices.
Okay. Slya, then. You are... where are you going to look for Lorella? Inside the keep? The castle walls have, like, some rooms attached to them. There is the lesser hall where you know there's a lot of storerooms.
I don't think that they would have gone to a storeroom, so I guess I'm gonna look through, like, I guess the more, like, communally...
Okay.
Either.
Make a quick perception or investigation. I'll let you pick. Depending on whether you're looking just in general to see if you can hear them, or if you're trying to sort of discern where they might have gone.
I'll use perception, because on the off chance that she might hear Neff crying.
For sure. With your passive, you definitely don't, but...
Well, my natural perception is my rolled perception is 14. Investigation would have been less.
Unfortunately, you don't, you are unable to hear Neff's crying. You do, however, hear crying from a different source. From behind the storehouses, you hear the soft sobs of a female's voice. When you head back around that way, you see, well, actually, Gareth isn't there. He seems to have moved away. It's just Sarazar and Lorella. And Lorella they have their arms around each other, and she's crying into his shoulder. And Sarazar looks pale, almost sort of sick to his stomach. And he looks like he's thinking something through very, very methodically in his mind. Neither of them have noticed you. They're just outside, actually. They only moved, it looks like, 60 feet or so from where you were originally standing, just around the corner.
If I wanted to get closer, would I need to make a stealth check?
Without them noticing you? You don't want them to see, do you?
I don't want to disturb them.
Right,
but
okay.
I also want to let them know, and so I kind of just want to approach as gently as possible. Is really more the thinking here.
Okay, then make a stealth check for.
Naturally.
Naturally? Not good?
No, naturally, because I'm rolling this one particular dice. That's an 18.
18. Okay, good on you. So, you managed to... Sarah's is the only one looking, really. Okay. You managed to sneak around them for now. You sort of perch yourself, not hiding, just keeping your distance, because that's what I think you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Kind of beside the edge of the building, watching the pair. Nothing particularly changes, except that there is a moment where Lorella pulls back, and she says something to Sarazar, and he closes his eyes, and he like as if like he doesn't want to hear it. Almost, he's like closing his eyes, and he just nods, and she just goes back and starts crying again. You'd have to make a perception check if you wanted to hear. Hear what they were saying.
I will go ahead and make that perception check. Can I also make an insight check just to see if there's anything that I can get from their emotions more than their words?
For sure, yeah. You can do both. I'll let you.
Okay, so the first one was the perception, which is
Mm-hmm.
a dirty 20.
Okay. The second one, just give them to me both.
Okay. And the second one, not as good. Well, actually, we'll see if it's not as good because I don't. Let me look at my. Okay. The second one is an 18.
18, dude.
I rolled an
Dude.
11 and I was like, this is not as good. And then I looked at my. That's a +7.
+7 insight. Damn.
That's crazy. Wait,
Okay.
I have
Proficiency.
I have +7 insight as well, actually.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't have it for perception though.
Remind me not to chuck any wisdom saves at you guys anytime soon.
Please do.
What she
We're clerics.
says. Ha 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 ha. What she says is, as she pulls back and she looks up at him, she says, "We're at war again, aren't we?" And Saraza doesn't reply, and just pulls her back in for a hug again. With your 18 insight, this does look like something you maybe would feel awkward intruding on. There have been moments, I think, where you've sort of noticed they go off on their own a fair bit. Just Saraza and Lorella.
Their own affair a bit.
Hang on a second. Don't jump to conclusions.
I'm just
They have clearly got a very close, if complicated, relationship, and
Yeah,
it seems to be part of that.
on.
Yeah. Nothing. No, it's just very like.
It doesn't mean like intimate, like romantic,
yeah.
intimate, just
Exactly.
period.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But after a while, if you are waiting specifically until they break apart to make sure they come for breakfast, there is a time when they eventually sort of naturally both pull away, and they give each other one last kind of like mournful look. And Saraza says, "We need to stick together now. Neff as well." And Lorella nods and she says, "And Danuel and Lorelle as well." And they begin to turn and move towards your direction, at which point I think... No, he still doesn't see you. You're kind of just standing there. You're kind of just standing there and they begin to walk past you.
I guess at which point I will step out and say,
They kind of jump.
Frederick Winterbrand has prepared breakfast for us. I just wanted to make sure that I found y'all to make sure that you were cared for.
Lorella manages to sort of wipe her tears away and muster the sort of the beginnings of a smile almost on her face, but it doesn't reach her eyes. And she says to you,
Slya is deliberately not making eye contact and probably would have bowed when she approached.
for sure, "Thank you, Saya. Slyan'ssun." And
It's fine.
she moves away. And Saraza gives you a similar kind of look and then follows her as well. Okay. And you go back to find the others?
Yep.
Okay. As you all return to your group, in what was previously the war room, and has now returned to being a dining room, as it was originally supposed to be. This room where you once planned the siege of Whitecliff and the defences of the castle walls. Now there is a modest yet hearty-looking breakfast laid out for you. Breads, there are jams and porridges as well laid out. There is water. There is also wine, if anybody wants alcohol this early in the morning.
Oh yeah, you know it.
Sounds like
Fresh
a good
milk
idea.
and cheese. And it's all laid out for you on a spread on the table. The doors are flung open and a bell is rung, and you notice anyone who's sort of still looking out the windows, all of the guards seem to relax ever so slightly, sit down at their posts and go on break. It seems like it's a universal time of breaking now. Marlena and Merlin place themselves around the table. You sit across the rooms, and those of you who wish to are able to tuck into a nice home-cooked meal. Lorella does not touch her plate, and neither does Sarazer, really. It's just kind of picking in his food. Neff, how long do you spend crying on the castle walls?
At the castle walls. It's kind of vandalism, isn't it? Can I attempt to contact my deity?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Religion check?
Well,
Or...
what you would be doing for this is the rolling a D100.
Oh, right,
And if you roll below your level, so below a 12, I believe you guys are level 12?
11.
Or 11.
11.
Were we supposed to level
Okay.
up?
Nope.
Not yet.
Everything I do is deliberate and definitely not an accident. No.
You eat
no,
your
level
breakfast.
11 is
You've
fine.
leveled! That was a healthy breakfast.
That was
No.
great
We'll
breakfast.
save it. We'll save it. To see how
Yeah.
the session goes.
Brian's
Alright.
just having water anyway.
The struggle I have with leveling up with Milestone is because even though it's been a significant number of sessions for you guys, in game it's only been about a week.
Mm.
Oh, I thought it's
So-
been 2 weeks, but yeah.
2 weeks ish. So maybe not just yet, but it is coming.
Mhm.
Just so you're aware. Neff, roll a D100. So you roll
I've rolled...
this one.
Yeah. 36.
Okay, unfortunately, whilst you are able to sit down and you're able to focus, and you definitely do feel that tether, that hum, like kind of like begin in your mind, you are unable to convey accurately what help you need and what questions you want answered. But you can pray out loud, or you can pray in your mind, and you can tell us what that sounds like if you wish.
Nah, I think she's just a bit too distraught at this point. She's gonna leave it for maybe later. But I think at this point she'll come back down to the dining table.
Okay. All right. You did hear the bell go, so you are able to. You're able to come down. Great. As you take your seats around the table, I'm assuming all Star and Neff are sitting as far apart from each other as possible.
Well, which seats are available?
Yeah, Brian's got a corner with his.
Lorella has saved a seat for you in between Sarazer and herself.
I'll sit there.
Okay. When you do sit there, she instantly like scooches closer to you and just kind of like puts a hand like on yours, and you feel her trembling ever so slightly. But her face is a bit more composed now.
I'll clasp her hand on top of mine.
For sure. As you sit, Frederick Winterbrand, who's sitting at the head of the table with Merlin and Marlena on each side, looks over to you all, and once you've sort of gotten a decent way through your meal, and people are starting to slow down their pace ever so slightly, he says, either I have missed something fairly significant, or the kings and queens of this world have gotten into the habit of coming back to life without my knowledge. So if you don't mind, would someone please care to explain this situation in full to me?
Neff is kind of looking down at the table, trying to avoid eye contact as much as possible.
Brian's on his 4th glass of water.
4 of
Wine.
Not wine.
Actually, as she's looking down and this is going on, Neff is going to reach for like the bottle if nobody else is pouring wine at the moment.
Sarah, you see Cyrus's hand reach out to stop you, and he kind of tries to give you a look, but he
Can I-
can't control you. So
can
if you really
You're
want
not
to
my
drink
real dad.
I can do a...
it,
Oh, Gluey.
Can I do it?
Sorry, what was that?
Can I do a strength check against Sarazar's grip?
He's not gonna. If you continue to take it, he's not gonna stop you. So, as he realizes you're serious about this, he.
Oh, very
decides to
serious.
pull
If
his
there's
hand.
one thing that's remained intact, it's Neff's love of alcohol at early times in the morning.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Uh,
Frederick waits expectantly.
Sarazar, I think you have the most full knowledge of this of any of us.
Well, I suppose that is true. He explains this situation in full to Frederick.
Nicely
Because
done.
I think I was expecting one of you to
Yeah.
do it, so I don't think it's fun for you guys to just listen to Sarazar. As Sarazar begins to speak, he starts off talking about how you came to get to know each other, the origins of the group, what he now knows after meeting Sobek and after you opened up to him about the truth of your quest and why you went to Kalkan. He talks of after shooting you all a look to be sure that it's okay, the Tome of Absolution.
Slya tenses just when it's mentioned.
He speaks of your attack from the drow and the betrayal on the boat. His mission, which has been all along to reunite Neff, protect her with Lorella. The fact that the monarchy was never dead after all, and the events of the last few days. And as he finishes up his speech, there's a sort of momentarily stunned silence over the table, and Frederick Winterbrand is sitting with hands clasped in front of his face. If you've forgotten, he's a fairly stoic-looking man, but with kind eyes. All completely white hair, short white chin beard, some lines, wearing a very comfortable-looking but practical sort of velvet jacket, which reaches just halfway down his calf. Merlin and Marlena too, slight like tanned skin, but white hair similar to his, and they are sitting there, still in the same clothing you found them in when they were training the day before. Merlin, as he listens and as Sarazar finishes, says, "God, that's it's far more intense than I was expecting." And Lorella replies, "I can only think of my daughter alone right now. She may not suspect anything yet, but it's only a matter of time. By tomorrow, I'm sure she will know something is wrong." And she turns to you all and she says, "Do you truly think that we cannot return to Kalkan?"
Something that should probably come into focus here is that one of the people who we were to face at the ritual combat was Karul, wearing the face of another. What's to say that he can't just put on Randall's face and take control of the dunes in our absence?
Marlena nods. And she says, "If, say, you don't return, aren't you worried that the rebel forces will move against you?" And Sarazar says, I agree with you, actually. I am worried about having a discontent military group in Kalkan, and yes, as you say, Slya potentially leaving that under Karul's influence. And Loran then says, "Don't forget, though, we do have the problem of Karul being able to find us, and the fact that even though Karul was there, we didn't see any of his drow friends there. We have no idea where they are either." Sobek replies, "And the tome we need to find. The tome and secure it as soon as we can."
I think Brian gets out the locket and just puts it on the table and just quietly says, "What do you want me to do with this?"
Lorella looks over at you and says, "You are the one who brought it here. Brought him here. I think this is your problem to solve.
Okay,
Ooh.
Brian.
Is best.
Brian
Do what
gets
you
up and
think
leaves. With the locket.
Make an insight check.
11 plus. Hold on. 8, 19.
Lorella looks dead inside.
Yeah, same.
Relatable content.
Yeah.
Very relatable.
From her voice, though, you can tell that she didn't mean to necessarily direct that as an insult, more as a suggestion.
Oh, Brian is just so far gone. He's just leaving. He needs to go.
Okay.
Does Loran try and follow him, or
I don't think anyone should.
No, he doesn't. Do you take the locket with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, we'll solve that in a second. The rest of you are still sitting around the table. Bluey is there too. I don't know when Anna's gonna come in.
the last thing we have is Bluey mouthful going to look hopefully at everyone else, or going to look hopefully at
Anna,
everyone else
when do
4
you think
times.
you can-
Oh no,
Good.
and then I'm
Alright.
really sorry.
Okay, I can see it now.
Anna.
Okay. Yeah, I have the chat pulled up on my other screen so that I'm not
That's
washed
fine.
out of spam.
I'll
When
just.
do you think you can... Oh, that was supposed to be crying, not happy.
Oh.
Well, there we go, now it's both. Okay.
I'll.
Alright, well, we'll just assume that Bluey is going along with everything that's happening.
Can I just like kind of silently offer wine to anybody who wants it at the table?
Loran instantly goes to reach for it, and then he thinks better of it, and then pulls back.
I'll pour him like a very modest like amount into a small wine glass, if there's one at the table.
Marlena shakes her head and she says, "It dulls the senses. Need to always be ready to fuck shit up."
Neff's eyes kind of light up at the sound of dulling senses, and she pours herself a tankard of this wine.
I think Frederick Winterbrand stops you and says, Now, child.
Please, I have senses that need to be dulled.
Ulster has a point. Sorry.
Oh, please continue. I just would like to say that I don't think these are emotions you should run away from your whole lives. Attempt to confront them and face them.
I agree with that.
And you'll
Maybe
come out
just
stronger for it.
maybe just for this breakfast, though.
He starts pulling the tankard away from you and returning to you the wine bottle, and you notice as they pass, the tankard has more in it than the wine bottle does. So he's like offering you a slight compromise.
All right.
Sly, have you called yourself Slyer in front of them?
Nope.
Astra, you were saying, please, I would love to hear your input on this situation.
Wait, do we know that, has it been expressly made a point that the Winterbrands are like cousin, uncle people to
Brian, have you told them?
I can't remember. I don't know if you can tell from looking at them.
You can decide. You have there's a very vague familial collection there.
Yeah, he probably. I can't see a reason why he wouldn't have mentioned it.
Then
Okay.
you know.
Your nephew has a point. We do need to figure out.
We're more like far distant, but that's fine. Cool. Go on.
Okay. We do need to decide what to do with Randall. Because he wouldn't have taken him if there wasn't a reason for it. You may not believe it, but he has a very good heart.
Are you looking to Lorella?
Yeah.
She says, I don't doubt that he does. But the thing is, and the same goes for all of you, this is the lives of my children and my country that we're playing with. This is more than just a feud between mentor and mentee. This is more than just a quest to tick off on your list of organizations that you work for. I'm sorry. And she looks to Sobek.
There are things, there's more at stake, Karul, than I think we all know. And perhaps I should have divulged this sooner. But he seeks a power to rain fire down upon the world. And it's possible that whatever Karul wanted from Randall, he could have gotten from himself. He could have gotten from him on his own. He chose to make Brian do this.
I don't doubt that he is a powerful man. And that if he gets these things, if he gets these items, like you say, he will indeed wreak havoc across the globe. And I want to be in a position where I can help you, where Kalkan can help you. But I am powerless. I am powerless like this. My family die like this. I haven't seen my son in almost 16 years. My husband, who knew so much about the kinds of things we might face, was killed by man in that locket or the people that follow him. This is too personal now for me to stop. If you truly wish to pause your quest and to go and find this Karul, or to find a way to protect yourselves from him, I cannot come with you. And judging from his reaction, I do not think that Ulster would want me to.
Slayya's just looking right over at Neff, like,
Oh, she's pouring into it just a drinking glass, not a tankard, pouring out the contents of that bottle and taking a sip at this point.
oh, I can't reach. Oh, it's not happening. Slayya was about to undrunk Neff.
She's just sipping this glass full of the remains of the bottle.
I don't think I can do this without your help, though. I was really...
I don't think we would want you to. Your family is important. Not just because you rule Kalkarn. But I understand wanting to keep them safe. And I did not mean to make you choose between them.
Sometimes decisions have to be made. I won't fault you for that. And I think perhaps I shouldn't fault Ulster either, in that regard. I was hoping he would be here when I say this, but he decided to leave, and I think that's his right to.
Perhaps I
But,
could go get him?
Mm.
If it is important for him to hear, then he should hear it.
okay.
And Slee is going to excuse herself to go find Brian. Because Loran didn't do it, and...
Good luck, Slya!
Loran's just like, I'm not messing with that.
Well, Loran looked as if he was about to say something as you suggested that, but then he's like, okay, well, if Sly's going.
Nope, if Loran wants to go...
Why didn't you guys
I don't
both go? As a tag team duo, that'll...
I don't think that's going to help. I think it needs to be one or the other, because them together is not...
Very different energies.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's Slya who gets the jump on it.
She will turn back and be like, Loran, unless you want to try and convince him, you have probably a better chance at it than I do.
I don't think you've noticed, but I'm not usually the best person to talk to in dire situations, so maybe it should be you.
Okay. Do I need to do an investigation check to see where he's gone?
Yeah, Brian's hidden himself in a cupboard somewhere.
Can you, like, look for footprints?
Yeah, make a
The drow closet?
you
Not the
can
dry
choose.
closet.
You can make a survival check to find his footprints and follow him, but there's not much, like, nothing really around to track. You can do perception, or you can do investigation, or you can do insight in the sense of being able to tell, given the kind of person that you know Brian is, the kinds of places that he would go. That's not going to give you any help in locating him, but if you wanted to do an insight check, I'd give you advantage on the next roll.
Okay.
And it's good.
Insight 16?
Yeah, I think given the kinds of places you know All-Star would go, so you said like a cupboard, you kind of know that he sort of probably wants to be somewhere small and closeted away at the moment, and the kinds of places you know that to be are the rooms which are built into the castle. The castle walls, I should say, are about like 15 foot thick, and you can walk through them. There's like corridors beneath them within the walls, and then obviously built into those are other rooms. So you start looking through there. So make a perception check or an investigation with advantage.
Okay. Cool. You said perception or investigation? Oddly enough, let's do perception. That's going to be
Okay.
19.
19. All-Star, are you really trying to hide yourself?
I guess in his emotional state, maybe not. But like he's trying to hide himself, but he's not good at it, I guess.
I'll let you make a stealth check with disadvantage if you really don't want to be found.
Wow, they're both 11 plus 1, so 12.
12. With the perception, you manage to hear Brian's breathing through one of the doors you pass. The sounds of life.
Horrible.
That was a very, interesting noise made just then.
I apologize on behalf of Brian.
All good? So, go ahead.
I'm just going to kind of lightly knock on the door.
I'm trying to think, like, because I feel like I have to remember that Brian isn't basically an 18-year-old having a bit of a strop, so...
Go away!
Go away, Mom! Gag me with a spoon, Mrs. Henderson!
I think whatever sound you heard stops.
Is he holding his breath?
Brian?
Oh.
Oh.
Bluey.
I think Anna just lost her battery.
Oh no.
Where is Anna?
Bluey falls asleep.
I don't know. She was supposed to be on at
From a
12.
train station.
Ah.
Or from a station, yeah. No train station, yeah.
Okay. Because it's Sly's voice. Okay, I think he's gonna get up and go to open the door and just kind of peer out. He doesn't look so great.
What, should I insight what I'm seeing, or?
How would I describe it? He looks like someone who is beyond crying and just very exhausted, holding the locket in his hand. Not putting it back on, just holding it.
I think we do need your input for the discussion, sweetie.
I don't know if I can. And he just hugs Slayer. Like, and just holds on. He's just so sad.
If he's crying, she is going to just start crying.
It's like got those like trembles when you like want to cry but you can't cry, and he's just holding on. Like he's drowning.
Yeah, no. She has started crying.
Oh dear. Yeah, he's not moving. He's just holding on.
How long are you staying like that?
Probably like 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Before she gets it out of her system, at least.
I think Brian like just realizes she's crying and like takes his like sleeve and like tries to dab away all the tears. Doesn't want to see her cry.
And like when she kind of calms down, I think I know things are very hard right now, but I think there are things that we need to discuss. Randall Payne included.
I agree. I'm sorry. It was
Okay.
immature of me to leave. I tend to hear that a lot. You make the decision. So I want to make this decision with all of you. I feel every time I make a decision by myself, it's always wrong. And I'll come back with you. And he just takes her hand and just holds on.
Okay. As you make your way back to the castle, you see that the table has been cleared, other than the drinks that you're still drinking from. The plates are gone, and it's pretty much exactly as you left it. No one seems to be talking all that much. No one seems to be particularly happy, which means probably about as good an atmosphere as you're going to get in there. When you enter in All Star, Lorella immediately looks to you, and she stands up. She comes over, and she sort of stands in front of you, and she falls to her knees and puts her head on the floor, and she says, "Please, don't stop helping us. We need all the help we can get. I know that you don't like me, and I know that you don't like my family. But there are countless people, lives at stake. Danuel's life is at stake as well. Shu is still in the Kalkan." And she's groveling on the floor in front of you.
I think Brian panics the minute she gets down and gets to his knees as well and kind of like props her back up. He does not like people bowing or groveling or anything.
And she's not looking at you, but she's like very visibly shaking, as if this is the last thing that she thought she could do to try and save this situation.
Okay, Brian's like, Your Majesty, you don't have to do this. I don't dislike you. I don't dislike your family. This is not I will help you. I already promised my father that if I had to, I would die for this. And I'm sorry, sometimes it feels like a lot, and I know it's a lot. But I will help you. I'll give everything to help you.
Then please, and she looks up and she's kind of like grips onto the arms that are holding her shoulders. She says, "Oh, you scry on Daniel."
Brian looked like he was expecting this, and he says, I have to get outside the sanctum.
Oh, we're outside the sanctum.
We are?
The
Okay,
keep
cool.
the keep is mostly outside of the sanctum.
Okay. Make sure we're outside the sanctum,
Okay.
and then sits down and immediately does it.
Through the staff?
Yeah.
Okay. As you do so, because they don't have the benefit of a private sanctum like you do anymore, your vision pans up and across the ocean separating Aprea and Kalkan. Eventually you settle in on Kalkeriat, in the ruins of the Western Palace, where some 70, 80 odd people, the people you recognize as being from the Winter Palace, have made their way to. Given its location, it's just a bit closer to the Winter Palace than when you originally left. Hence why they got there so quickly, especially with the sand wastes now in a state of, let's just say, they're much easier to traverse now. And as you look, you see Danuel just kind of staring at the door. There's what would be the doorway, the sort of wrecked entrance of it, clinging onto Shu's fur. Shu has her head on Danuel's lap, and she's just watching. As you look around, you see the Obrelin reinforcements are there, and there are actually some new faces, as if there are more reinforcements from Obrella than you would first realize, perhaps some which were stationed within Kalkeriat itself. And then you see the other people who you suddenly get a very sickening feeling in your stomach as you realize what's going on here. Oh fuck. There were about 30 people from the Temple of Abundance within the retainers of Danuel's and Lorella's left sort of support, because they rescued everyone from the Temple of Abundance before they went off and hid themselves away. They are now exposed out in the open. Gelder is there as well. All of Neff's friends, the 4 friends who you did the catalogue with Neff, as she explained to you before, are there as well. And they wait.
No signs of imminent disaster?
No signs of imminent disaster. But make a quick intelligence check for me.
Yeah. A. 16 plus 3. 19?
19.
Yes.
Corral wanted Neff because she could tell him where the Temple of Abundance was. You can only tell where the Temple of Abundance is if you've been there.
Mm-mm.
About 30 opportunities right there, including 5 Gelder and Neff's 4 former friends from before she lost her memories, who would know at least of the cataloging system, if not the exact code. But they don't need the exact code anymore because they've already got it from the journal.
Okay. Ryan pops back out and shares all that information with the group.
Sobek goes and has an aneurysm. How we're gonna resolve that?
Yep.
Man, this has been a lot of lore for him to catch up on at this point.
Yep.
Not funny.
Yeah, and I was
Would be
kind of
good.
shocked hearing this.
You did know that there were Temple of Abundance people, because Gelder is obviously their leader de facto now. Ah!
Oh, Chloe!
Hello! I hear you.
Oh shit, you're loud. Hello.
Sorry.
Hello.
We're just so excited.
I'd like to profusely apologize after setting a time to set you all back, and then actually not being able to make it.
That's fine.
I'm walking home.
Don't worry about it.
It's 16% battery, so.
Okay, hang up and just come in your own time. It's okay.
Are you okay?
It's fine. Don't worry.
Are you sure? Fuck.
I'm sure. You'll be okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
See you soon.
I'll hear and actually see you. Yeah, that's a good point.
Hell yeah. That's good content. Okay.
Huzzah! Popcorn,
Huzzah!
video. Work.
Excelsior.
Is it gonna front?
Oh.
Anna, are you on data? Because this is gonna chew it
Is
up.
it on? Oh, hello.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I'll chat in 16 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Bye.
For sure. Bye. Okay. So, Lorella doesn't quite understand what the Tome of Absolution is in its entirety, so I don't think she quite understands the severity of this. But Sobek, Loran, kind of look to each other with like a "oh" expression, and then the rest of you are just there.
I think maybe
Just Lorella
we
and
should go get that book really quickly if we can, before anybody else gets their hands on it.
We were on the same wavelength. That was good.
We need to go. We need to get the book.
Loran says, or if you don't want to go that far, we can return to Kalkariat and protect the temple workers. I can hide them. Sobek, and he says, I can pop them in my mansion if we get there. But we'd have to go back.
Brian?
Give me 1 second. Need to think what Brian would want, because I know what I want to do, but...
Does Lorella want to know what the Tome of Absolution does?
Are you asking her?
If it seems like she's out of the loop for how bad it could be if it's found,
I'll put it this way. She doesn't need any more convincing to go back to Kalkan. So if you're telling her to get the urgency up, she's already right there with you.
What if we get
She just
Lorella to
doesn't
go
necessarily-
back and get the survivors, and we just head to the temple immediately?
Okay, I think Brian doesn't want to put the rest of the group in danger any more than we have to. I feel like if we went... Because I'm like, yeah, let's go get the book.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we went to get the book, then we're putting everyone in danger, because then just immediately know that we've done that. And then we'd be fighting him as a little group, as opposed to protecting a larger group and having less of an immediate threat to him. Because if we go get the book, then that's an immediate kind of trigger for him to, like, zap us.
Probably.
Twice
Yeah.
what?
Saraza, hearing that, Saraza says, well, then there is another alternative, which is we don't act on the offensive, we act on the defensive. We go, we take back Kalkariat, we fortify the city, we gather what men we can, however we can. Soldiers, reinforcements, we can get them if we delay enough time.
is this what you would recommend, Sarazer?
He thinks, he says, Lorella and I have already talked about whether we would have to, what would happen if we'd failed the ritual combat, how we could protect ourselves. We can ask the guild masters for reinforcements. We still have friends in the capital who I believe, now that we've won the ritual combat, would support us. The country is rightfully ours, after all. If we are able to deplete the Dune's resources, deplete their men, turn them away from us, then perhaps Krul would have a much harder time as one person than if he had the might of a whole rebellion behind him.
I agree, but we'd still be, and he holds up the locket again, we'd still be bringing this back into Calcan. Is there anywhere we could store this, protect this, stop him from getting to Randall? Or should I wear it?
Loran puts a hand up and he says, I have a little pocket dimension. I think you remember where I put that purple stone all stuff. A little secret chest, I call it. I can pop it in there. No one will be able to get to it except me.
With the purple stone?
I can pop it in a new one.
Maybe to be safe. Okay. He hands the locket over.
Takes it. It takes 10 minutes to start drawing some arcane symbols in the air, and then out of the air a little keyhole appears, and he sort of goes as if he's holding a key to unlock it, but a key forms in his hand out of magical energy. And you see just a square in like reality open up, and he just throws the locket in, closes it, and locks it, and says, "Now it's no one's problem."
How long can somebody survive in the locket, out of curiosity?
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely? Yeah. Okay, damn.
And doesn't time pass a bit differently in that?
Technically, they're incapacitated, but in the way that that doesn't necessarily, we've decided, I think, from what you described it as, it's not necessarily their like cognitive abilities get like destroyed. It's just that their sort of form is like, it doesn't age, it doesn't have to eat, and that kind of thing.
It's fine.
So, with that dealt with, what's the next step then? Let's pretend it's done.
Just put it somewhere and don't think about it.
Temporarily swept under the
rug.
How do we get back?
I think you know how we get back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I tell you all a secret, though? I may have put another teleportation circle in Ironstone. Just, not the guild masters one.
Nobody's surprised.
If we wanted to go to Ironstone from here and take the official route without dealing with the gnome, then I'm sure we could do this. Or I feel like the gnome would have an international port, because we were able to come in here from the Maasai through there. Perhaps we'd be able to return to Calcariat as well.
Neff just looks at everybody else.
Yeah, Brian's in a differential mood.
The straightest route might be our best option.
Okay. To the gnome, then.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
I hate the gnome
Okay.
so much.
Oh no.
That's the real least favorite NPC of everyone.
Good content. That chase was a lot of fun, though.
It
It's a
actually
shame we
was.
didn't catch that one. It's a shame we didn't catch that on recording, but we started recording from the session after that.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Yeah.
we got like the end of that session, didn't we? Like,
The first recording was like the last hour of like a 4-hour session or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, because you woke up really late, didn't you? And then you...
No. That first one, I just had the idea of like, maybe I'll record it, and I just recorded it without
Yeah.
you guys knowing, and then I was like,
Sure.
oh hey, I recorded it. Should I upload it? And you guys are like, yeah, cool. And then we just. that's
I'm
how it
so
started.
glad you did that. I wanted
Yeah.
it so much. And so does
Now we know
apparently
what the views
40
are.
other people. Like, genuinely, who is watching this 10 times over, you guys? You've got to tell me now.
I
yeah.
haven't. I've watched.
We all know.
We all know.
I've watched every session like 2 or 3 times, I think, but
Yeah,
not
same.
10.
I rewatch parts of it, like funny parts. Like I just memorize.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's
the
little bits
timestamps.
I like rewind over and over again.
I
Yeah.
want to do, like, at the end of this, like, what's it called?
Highlights.
Highlights, yeah, but like, something. Compendium, but no. Like a collection. of
Compilation.
video. Compilation, yeah. I want
Yeah.
like compilations of like Loran, like.
We need a Loran
Death
winking
versus-
compilation.
Yeah.
Death versus the Sphinx. I
Oh
want
my-
that in like a nice
Oh,
a nice
no.
little package deal. That'd be great.
Oh my god.
Um,
Where everything went wrong.
where literally The Disappointment Crew gets more disappointing compilation. Oh wait, the Disappointment Crew, but it gets more disappointing as you go
Every
on.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah, my
who
massive
thought he had no
notes
hope
has
left
me-
loses the last little bit of hope he didn't know he had.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, my massive notes. That's what has the videos like constantly refreshing and
Sure. Every video,
Adding
every
views.
Disappointment Crew session ever, but every time Loran makes an inappropriate comment, it speeds up.
Oh, it would just be like a blur at the end.
It's like
Like
3
a
hours
blur.
long.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, dude, you know what we should do? We should like make a highlight reel at some point and then create a bingo card or something like that without having properly
Yeah.
watched the highlight reel and then just take shots.
Yeah.
What we think's
could be
gonna
nice.
hit the most.
We should do. Wait, if we did a D&D bingo, where we each came up with something that happens a lot in each session, without you guys knowing my notes and
Mhm.
without me knowing the bingo, and then we would like just go along with it. It would be kind of funny to see how that session
That would.
went.
I think we just need to come up with like enough, like I think 25 squares, and then we can randomize it for everybody, and then we can like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every time a friend turns out to be a drow.
Every time.
time.
Every time somebody
someone
cries
walks-
IRL.
Yeah.
Every time
Yeah.
somebody cries IRL.
Can we not go back?
Every time Loran goes like, you know,
The Loran thing.
The Loran
the
face.
Loran thing.
Oh.
Right, so. Fuck, where were we? What?
We were
Teleportation
trying to go to
circles?
Calcaria. Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
Okay, right.
we're
So,
going to
Hitting up the gnome.
Loretta says, I believe it might be a good idea if we either scry on the rebel forces to see how far along they are in planning what they plan to do next. And if possible, send a message to my home, my family in Abrella. And perhaps even Yoral in Trakeberry. And anyone else who you believe might help us. Now would be the time to contact them.
I can do the scrying.
I can do the messaging.
Do you have any ideas of maybe perhaps allies you have in the country who...
We have Kaz.
Wait, did that all just cut out for anyone else? I hear that.
A little bit.
Yeah. Ditto.
Do you have any idea of any allies in this country?
Who can help?
can help.
Pico. We know the prince.
The Taronian royal family. If you believe they would come to our aid. If you believe they would come to our aid, then...
We can ask.
Okay. Friend is in Eldrelith's watch, yes.
Yes.
Perhaps it might be a good idea to ask her them. I believe sending to a royal might be a bit difficult. I have experience with the kinds of and barriers they put up in that regard.
Didn't Loran do a sending to Pico?
Yep, via
Well-
me.
Great content. You can try it. Maybe it's just a Calcon thing.
Maybe, who knows? Who
I mean,
does...
to be fair, you have been able to just message the king and the queen like all the time.
Yeah.
We've got everybody's
Yeah.
personal email inbox at this point.
Oh yeah, we already know
I think
the missile's not gonna
What
happen.
I think the way it sort of works is it's like if you know the person, it becomes instantly easier to sort of, if you've met the person, to talk to them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, you know that Pico Taro is a bit more of a relaxed royal
Chill guy.
to a
I
certain
mean, we could
extent.
just recycle the last sending we did. Chrism Collective in trouble. Come to
One of the Chrism Collective left. Currently.
Oh yeah, literally, you're not even on his radar really anymore. You could try that.
We did save his country from a white dragon.
Bravo, by the way.
Yeah, that was pretty good content.
Yeah.
Considering no one's seen a dragon for over 500 years.
True. Who does Lorella want me to scry on? Because we don't know anyone, really, do we?
yes,
We know,
have Amory.
Yep. Hey
And
Mary,
we
you
wouldn't-
know.
Wouldn't be
Rain
scrying on
Fred.
Karul.
Rainfred, you know, was there. Father's not there anymore. Faerun's not there anymore. Wow, a lot of them are dead.
Shit, that got morbid really fast.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, you could also certainly try scrying on Halfest to see if alive or actually killed by Karul.
Ooh. Can I do
Oh,
both?
this was a real person?
Wait, is this wait, how did that work? I thought that was just like a shape-shifting thing.
Just disguise self spell.
It can only be one.
Wait, but is the I thought that was just Karul's disguise. I didn't think that was like an actual
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
So then Randall didn't know.
If
that-
you guys wouldn't think of yourselves, if you guys wouldn't think of that yourself, then don't do it. Might have been my slip up there.
I want to start with a memory.
Okay, Mary.
Sorry.
The Red Dragonborn.
Yes. Scary.
Okay. What's your spell DC?
Let's say 16.
Ooh, 7 plus, not enough. Okay. Again, your vision pans up. Let me look at my timeline.
So much for that spa, hey guys.
We can still go at some point.
It was a bit of wishful thinking, wasn't it? Do you know what the thing is? Loran suggested it. I think it's very in character for him to suggest.
Yeah.
But then, as I started realizing of the things that would happen whilst you were gone for 6 months,
Yeah.
it became very apparent that this was probably a bit impossible.
I think in character, I probably would have protested taking a break for that long, given how much shit we're kind of in because of me and like other things that have happened.
What about like a spa for one day?
At some point, we need to go for a spa in game.
I
We
think
do.
Brian's gonna need to check himself into intense therapy very soon.
Again,
And all of us, to be
Loran
honest.
said that a place called Yggdrasil
Oh.
has the best spas.
There we go.
Whee! It's on the continent of Aloon, I think. Lucifer! Hello.
Everyone.
Okay. So, it's okay. As you scry on a Mary, you see her. Hang on. Oh my! I'm reading this off my phone. It's not ideal. Oh fucking hell! Sorry. Okay. You see her on horseback, riding away from the much further away from the camp in a place that you do not recognize. Still Kalkan. On the distance, you see the beginnings of a tall, fortified structure. It is a single keep with a sort of a wall around it, kind of similar to Whitecliff, but it's not. Obviously, it's not Whitecliff. Just the structure is similar. She is leading what appears to be all of the forces that evacuated the camp outside Melturn behind her. And she is, as she's riding very fast, speaking to various generals beside her. And they begin, as their conversations finish, to break off, going in 2 different directions. Make a perception check if you want to try and hear what they're saying.
Hey, it's gonna be good. 15 plus 8
Okay,
is
23.
23.
For sure. As she rides, you hear one of the people beside her say, "Swift riders have reported to the generals. Word's out, the truce was breached." Mary then replies, "Get Fala to locate the rest. We'll move to Fort Kellion. Then we'll return. Take the city. Request food supplies from the temples of life and death. And get the Kamuriad to organize reinforcements." And that's all you hear before they manage to break away. And she continues forward towards this large building. On the horizon, I need you to make another perception check for me, please.
Oh, 13 plus 8 is 21.
21. Thousands of soldiers. far, far, far more than any that among your company. More even than Melas brought to Whitecliff Castle.
Okay.
And this is what appears to be just in this one area. If they're sending swift riders out, you get the impression that there might be more, especially if the Camuriad is bringing reinforcements.
Yes, I share this information. Looks like a
Lorella...
sits down beside Neff and just takes the bottle next to her.
She's gonna take a
Lorella
swig from
says,
her glass.
We have about 80 people to protect. Retainers who lived with us in the castle. The city guard will fall behind us now, I'm sure of it, given that we didn't technically break the truce because someone else attacked us. If you are 100% sure that Karul was working against Randall, and he was also working against us, then we have nothing to fear about losing support from the regular people.
Before we go, I want to make sure you know the entire situation. With Karul, he messaged me when you were having your discussion with Randall, and he offered me a trade. He wanted Randall's eye. Well, he didn't want it. He wanted me to take it, give it to someone who was unable to be corrupted. In exchange, he said he would give me Ender, or 3 honest questions. And I will admit that at first, I wanted Ender back, and I almost took his trade. But I knew that there was Karul, and Sarazar has taught me to think a little more, perhaps in this case. I'm like, someone's wrong. I didn't think enough. And all I wanted to do was protect Randall, because he had treated us with honor, even if he... And I knew that if I didn't do it, Karul would move against us, or against Randall, and it would look like we did it anyway. I think that's the situation. I think that's everything I have to tell you.
And not just that. When I went down to look for Neff and Bluey, Karul attacked me in the tunnel. He took control of my mind so that I couldn't tell you. He broke the truce then. I didn't suspect him because of Randall's honor. I didn't think that any of Randall's allies would attack us.
Thank you for explaining this to me. It is actually more of a comfort than you realize. Because this tells me that we have done nothing wrong. We have only reacted in self-preservation. And now I am certain that we will have the city guard behind us. We will have the support of the common people. There are as well the oligarchy. It is not the rebels that directly rule Kalkan. It is leaders from all over the country right now who are making the decisions. But of course they are under the thumb of the Dune, if they realize it or not. And they have a lot of supporters. Now that we have won the ritual combat, I believe that they will come to our side as well. That's another... Sarazar, how many? And Sarazar says, last time I checked, it's 4,000 retainers. So together, with the Obrelin reinforcements already in Kalkariat, with the oligarchy and the city guard, We have about 5,000, 5,600 men, soldiers, ready to fight. And Saraza frowns and he says, it's not enough. Perhaps it's enough to keep the city fortified and safe for a small time, but they have they have almost 10,000 people behind them, I know this. From Kalkan and from Kemarat as well. I don't know what we can do. And Narella shakes her head and she says, well, there are the guild masters of Kalkan. And she looks to you and she says, and there is the Bayrak family. These two institutions, the family and the guild masters, are the second most powerful allies we perhaps have left, should they come to support us. I think I'll need your help to convince them of that, though. Certainly I will.
Out of game. Are we going to do this sending to Pico as well? Just to see.
I'd forgotten about that because I didn't write it down. Yes, you can if you wish to. Sorry, it must be a bit difficult coming in halfway through when everything kind of started getting emotion.
Yeah, sorry.
We're going to war.
Okay.
You're going to.
Yeah.
You need to make alliances, essentially, is what's. And there are two against the Dunes who have started to move against you. They've got about 10,000 something soldiers. You guys only have about 5,000 something soldiers. So
And
the odds are not in your favour.
Is that because they think we broke the truce when their
Yeah.
camps set on fire?
Yep.
Yeah, also they've got 2 members of their sort of elite missing at the moment. Not ideal. And they seem pretty hell-bent on taking back what was stolen, I guess, from them. They then have... So what Lorella is posing is you need to make alliances. There are these 2 independent organizations. Guild Masters of Kalkan, because, obviously Kalkan is big on trade, and the Bayrak family, who's the second wealthiest family in Kalkan, who would also have a lot of support behind them.
Okay.
So these 2 sort of institutions are what she is suggesting would be key to defeating the Dunes in an all-out war/combat. But you need to get their support, is what she's saying.
Yeah, we probably need to go meet as many people as possible. And also, it's probably good to do the sending as well, I think.
Yeah, to Pico. You can say it's from Brian if you want.
Okay, what are you saying to Pikotaro?
Yep. Brian?
What are you sending to
You
Pikotaro?
want me to write it? Okay. Okay.
Hey, yo, what's up? It's been a while. How you doing?
It's been a while.
Oh, I almost spilled
It's
that.
20.
I mean, Brian
25.
could. Yeah, 25.
Dude, I just knocked my cup over and then caught it as it was falling off my desk. I'm moving it over here.
Good on you, mate.
Brian could pull a Loran and say, hey, remember that time that I saved Shu? Except for, hey, remember that time I killed a white dragon?
Except Brian is not Loran and he will do things a little bit different.
Yep.
Do you want to take a quick 5 minute? I need to go to the
Sure.
toilet.
Yeah. You guys do what you need to do.
Alright, Burbs.
Check the time for you guys. Okay, we've still got a bit of time left. Oh, Anna, I think you'll find this really funny. Or at least I found it really funny. The name of this session is session. Oh,
I heard. I was there for that. It's like the
Ahaha.
aftermath of whatever the
Yeah,
fuck that was.
the
Yeah.
fuck that was. Yeah. Good content. Also, guys, I was so jealous seeing your fun meetup pics from yesterday watching Aladdin. I really wanted to be there. I was just like so emo on my own, like, oh.
I wasn't
fine.
actually able to see the movie because
Oh,
I'm an
okay.
idiot. And I
You're an idiot.
realized that call time, call time for my concert was at 4 p.m. and the movie would be ending pretty much like about 4
Right.
p.m.
Ah.
And yeah. And I'd been given 2 opportunities to be like, okay, you sure the 25th is good on your calendar? And I'm like, yeah, it is. I want to go see Aladdin. And
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh,
our problem.
that was really cute, and I wish I could have gone. But I actually found out something really devastating. Is in, not devastating, but for me, I was just like, oh, what the fuck? Was in Durham. The one event you really want to go to is a castle formal. So a formal in the castle where you dress up really nice to the nines and just like have a great time. And me and my good friend Matt Bonini, we decided that we were going to go and apply for June Ball, which is like the biggest event in the castle. And we got on to like a really good table. And I then double checked the date last night, and I realised that's the 25th of June is like halfway through my Scotland trip, and I hadn't put two and two together in my brain, so I can't go to June Ball, and I wanted to be Cinderella. I wanted to. It would have been so good, and it's my last year at uni, so I'm just gonna have to come back and visit Durham again in
Just for the castle.
2021.
Just
or
sneak around like a weird old person.
We are weird old people at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Except you,
I mean,
Anna. You don't look good. You haven't aged a bit.
You don't look old.
No.
Look, a day over, what do you reckon?
15.
17? Oh, okay.
I had my palm read the other day, and the palm reader thought I was 17, and I was like,
Oh no, people think I'm like 30 because of my big bag under my eyes.
Oh.
The bags under my eyes could carry shopping. I'm not even joking.
I have written the message, and it is exactly 25 words.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Time to enter a competition. 25 words or less.
25 words.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we need to get this sending out. So, All Star, what does the sending say?
Okay. Sending to Pico is, we helped you once. You do not have to, but we are at war in Kalkan. Any aid you could offer could save a country.
Okay. Hang on, I've just got to really think about the implications of this now.
He just sends back a sending. Okay.
Oh.
I don't think we should even try them. I don't think it's gonna go well.
Yeah, Slya really doesn't want to get anywhere near Rolmir Sharpistol's mines right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have reconnected with a lot of characters.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah,
So
everybody's
after a
back.
moment, you hear the reply, and Picarus Terranium, Prince Terronium of the Terronium family, right? Says oh, what is his voice?
This is adorable.
Vocal warm-ups.
I have not forgotten. Let me discuss it with my council. I cannot keep a clear mind and plunge my country into war without guidance. And that's all he said.
That's very fair.
It is, yeah. How would... Sorry.
That's what he replies to you.
Okay, should we just wait to have his council talks?
I don't think that'll happen like immediately though, will it? It's not like he's gonna go now and just be like, okay, guys.
Saraza looks to you, Brian, and he says, When you scried, what did you see? Can you describe to me the landscape? Whereabouts were they? Did you recognize anything? Any significant landmarks? We need to sort of figure out a time frame we might have.
Can I describe the fort that looks kind of like a cliff?
Yeah.
Just say I do that because
Okay.
I can't remember all the details.
For sure. All right. Well, as you describe it, he says, "That sounds like Fort Kellyan to me." This is still Teronium's voice. That sounds like Fort Kellyan to me. They did say they had reinforcements on the border in the Sandstone Citadel and Fort Kellyan. The border and the Sandstone Citadel are the furthest from Meltern. If I was them, I think that I would gather my troops either at the fortress or the citadel before moving, which gives us maybe a week before they could potentially march at full force on Calcariat. So time really is of the essence. Lorella says, if we want reinforcements from Obrella, we could get them, but it would take some time. Perhaps 10 days. Too long. And if we wanted to reach out to Ural, my son, and if we could convince him that what we say is true, that I am still alive, then he might be able to help us, but there's no guarantee. Ulster, do you truly have no allies left? And anyone who would help us, you think, without your parents' knowledge?
In the Messiah. Out of game, I have one idea, but could I roll any intelligence checks to see if I would?
Who are you thinking?
I'm thinking Lucas, but I feel like that might
Okay.
not be great. I don't know. Could I roll to see if I know any other organizations, perhaps bordering tribes?
Sure. I think you know that your best bet, just because you've grown up, I won't force you to roll for this, would be to contact someone who is not involved in the lesser tribes, given that they seem to usually defer to the decisions of the main ruling family at the time, or the ruling tribe at the time. But you seem to be on good terms with Lucas if you wanted to try it.
Okay. Brian's gonna say, I have a cousin. I could try him. He is a good fighter. He might have some allies of his own.
All right.
I'll write a message to Lucas.
Okay, Astra, you're also gonna Sly, you're gonna get mad use of that spell today.
Oh yeah, I'm fully prepared to just drop all my spells just for that.
For sure.
Oh, this is tricky. You guys keep going. This might take me like 2 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna mute you guys as well, so if you have anything, because I can concentrate. Sorry.
That's fine. So, Frederick Winterbrand now. Still here, sort of observing, knowing that he isn't particularly well versed in the art of war. Says to you, I unfortunately cannot spare any resources aside from rebuilding Melas. Bluey, I am sure that you understand that and wouldn't want me to. Your face. He said to you that he doesn't want to send any resources away from Melas.
What the fuck?
What The freak was that?
And that was like a response. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's came.
It's like, we can't spare any resources. Blue goes, what the fuck? Suddenly out of nowhere. I was, for like a brief moment there, I was really surprised.
But I did hear you mention that you cast a certain spell, Neff. And Marlena pipes in and says, "It's actually a spell. It's a spell I've heard of it. There are some of my friends who were in the Temple of Bahamut who actually knew that one too. It lets you set up like a sanctuary, right?
What spell is she referring to?
Word of Recall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Somewhat. Not quite. It's more of a teleportation spell in a sense.
If you want." And she looks to Frederick, and he smiles and he says, "I wouldn't mind if you wanted to set that up here."
If you wouldn't mind, that would be very kind of you. I might take you up on that offer. And
You would need to perhaps build a sort of shrine of sorts to your deity beforehand. But I'm sure we could arrange that. And Marlena, who was like originally like interested in the idea, immediately goes like,
Yeah, this is kind of awkward, isn't it? But yeah.
So long as it's smaller than our Bahamut temple, I might consider letting you do it.
Size doesn't matter.
I don't know, man. The gods are pretty powerful. They get mad sometimes. How big is yours? I'm sorry, I had to ask that.
She looks.
Maybe I don't know if she held any character, but I had to.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big. The biggest around.
Well, for my own reference, how big exactly?
15.
I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be back with my message.
15 feet.
That's shocking.
It's a 15-foot cube. It's usually kept hidden away underground.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. 50,
There are like
15 feet.
some seats for viewing and what's it called? Piers? No.
Pews?
Plimps? Pews. That's it.
Pew pew pew.
Down there, but there's a tiny like 5 foot by 5 foot room which I think we could put, or we could put it like, I don't know, outside where, you know, it can see the sun and stuff.
I like the sound of sun. I think sun is important. But ultimately, I'm
Not
your
as
guest, so
important. No, do it. I take over my home and just build all your shit here. That's fine. I'm happy with that. And Merlin kicks her from under the table, and he's like, "I will show you where you can put this temple, if you wish."
Yes. Thank you for your generosity.
No worries. He escorts you outside, and shows you to one of the vegetable patches, which is kept within the castle itself for growing medicinal herbs and such. And it's close enough to what you would expect for a Temple of Abundance shrine.
Mhm.
So you can take roll a religion check and roll a dexterity check to see how nice this this shrine turns out.
Okay. So religion check first, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on how well you do on your religion check, you can do it again. Is it a natural 20?
It's not a natural 20. It's actually very bad, but I've got a good modifier.
Oh.
It's a 9, modified up from a 3 on the religion check.
You kind of just start putting twigs together, and you think, yeah. And I think you start spelling out PHI, like Sphinx in sticks and leaves, just like doing your best approximation. You have some skill. Roll a dexterity check.
Okay. I mean, it's not that bad. It's like a 9. It could be worse, I guess. Did you say dexterity?
Yeah.
Would any of us be around to like see Neff making a temple, or is that just up to her?
Neff was taken away to do it, but you can surely follow after.
Yeah, Neff wouldn't have a problem with anybody coming with. 16 on the dex.
Okay, it's very well made. It's just a bit like childish in its the formation of its ideas. As in, like, maybe if I just draw a little sphinx in the dirt and then I make some like sphinx letters and then that kind of thing, put some like vegetables around it, it'll be fine.
So kind of questionable idea, but good execution.
Yes.
Okay.
And Bluey, you see this all from your vantage point as you watch Neff.
She's like putting the sticks together. Wait, can I build like a? How am I building this? Is this like a 3D thing, or is it just like on the floor? Like
I think it's. Have you ever seen those like woven sort of like druid circles out of wood and twine and that kind of thing?
woven? No, I haven't.
Okay, kind of. All right, imagine a dream catcher.
Okay.
A bit more rustic and British,
Cool.
kind of Celtic inspired.
Okay.
That's the kind of vibe I'm going for, except it's more into the shapes of like the symbols which represent the Sphinx
Okay.
language, spelling out Sphinx, I think.
Yeah, it represents the Sphinx.
So you're doing your best. I'm gonna say you managed to make your best approximation of it, and when you cast Word of Reason, you do feel a tether take. A little bit tenuous. There's a moment where you think maybe it didn't work, but you managed to.
All right. As
You
soon as
managed to
as soon as
set-
it's built, Neff kind of like inspects her work. She's kind of proud, but she's also kind of feeling the overwhelming sense of guilt. She doesn't show any sort of pride in her building, but she's kind of stoic in her approach. She raises her
sure.
arm and kind of quietly says aloud, "6th level, word of recall," and a little teal sparking electric magic kind of bursts through the air, through her arm and through her body into the ground.
For sure. There is that moment where there's an illumination like before. I do know the spell is taken. Okay, from up on the wall, Bluey, is there anything you want to do as you watch this happen?
On the wall?
On the wall, not sorry.
Spider
on the,
Bluey, Spider Bluey.
The wall.
Does
Well,
what
when I say on the wall, sorry, I described it when you weren't here. There are walkways along which connect to the keep. Let me draw you a
Right.
little map.
What can I see that everybody's doing right now? Are they just sort of chilling?
Who,
Hang
I
on,
don't know
I'm
who's in
drawing
your
you a little
vantage
map.
point. If you see Neff, she's just building her thing and doing her shtick with the sticks.
With the stick.
If she sees you, she'd probably like wave kind of shyly.
I think I'd be a little compelled to like ask Neff.
This is a shitty drawing of the castle. Okay,
Thank you.
this is some steps.
Yep.
This is like the main, like that square storage sort of area. This is about where Neff is, and you're like here by the door to the entrance to the keep.
Okay. I'm gonna go down, walk down to Neff.
Okay.
Down.
Sure.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at the presumably writing in the ground. It's like, what's that say?
It says Sphinx.
Oh, okay.
Actually, wait. Can I choose which language this is written in?
Sure, I'll let you choose.
All right, it's in Celestial.
Ooh, it's a bit more intricate than I first described it. Then, yeah. I like to think that Celestial looks like Gallifreyan. If anyone's ever seen what Gallifreyan looks like.
Gallifreyan. I don't know what Gallifreyan is.
Gallifreyan is
Doctor
Doctor Who
Who
languages. It's circles and
Bunch of
squares.
circles,
within circles.
lines.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll have to
Yeah.
look this up.
Like
I have a Gallifreyan
I can't like
necklace.
decode it or anything, but I was once into Doctor Who.
We had a few
Admirals
doctors
and
there,
Yes.
some intense ones.
Yeah.
Super Who lock scarred me forever.
Oh my goodness, mood.
Super Hulock.
And then I'll show you.
The Tumblr days.
It's kind of like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay, geez, that looks cool as. Can I make that with
Shall
sticks?
it's the
That's
same
okay.
color today.
Ah,
You can.
That was
Okay.
where I was coming from.
I
Down
got it. I
that way.
get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a while away. Well, not too far from you.
Not too far if I had parents who drove.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
drive.
Okay, fair enough. R.I.P.
So like
Sorry.
a sentence looks like that.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool as.
Cool, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, sweet. So I'll relay that to Louis.
That's so cool.
It's a beautiful language.
Yeah.
I never really got all this god stuff, Merlin says.
I don't know what's
Although
going
I
through
suppose a
Blue's
god
head
must
right
have. Fine.
Netflix
Although I
kind of
suppose a
taken
god
aback,
must have
like,
brought me back
okay.
to the death. I mean, no, but it's just because Marlena's really into it, and it kind of put me off a little bit, and I'm just like, she seems to base her whole personality around it, and it's kind of a bit intense sometimes.
Neff starts introspecting, like, Well, it is a way of life for many who choose to follow
Sure.
in the steps of their gods.
That's true. Very true. Anyways, I'm gonna head back inside. You can spend as much time as you need out here communing with your... What does that say? I can't read Celestial.
Oh, it says Sphinx.
Okay. You do that.
You know, like.
I'm familiar with except unfortunately the deities that Marlena chooses to follow are more like rah.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I like him.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go back inside. And he leaves.
It was
Upstairs.
nice talking to you. Bye.
Yeah, no, it's good. And upstairs you have literally everyone else. Sobek, Gareth, Loran, Saz, Lorella, Marlena, and Frederick.
I got my message to send if it's okay.
I'll also come back with Bluey. And
Okay.
let everybody know that the word of recall has been tethered.
Sweet. Okay, I'll tell Slya. It's a message to Lucas. Okay. You have seen the world outside the Maasai. Please help me protect it. We can save Kalkan and the relationship of our family. Ulster. I don't think that's yeah.
Okay, there's a moment. And you hear the voice reply say, I heard everything. I'll see what I can do.
Sweet.
So, you have feelers out with Picataro. You have feelers out with Lucas. Lorella says, well, the day is still young. We could return now.
How would you recommend that we reach out to the guild's leaders?
We would go to them in person. Especially the Bayrak family. I should go to them myself. I grew up with their oldest son. I've known them since I was younger. I believe that they'll be more amicable to us if either myself and Neff and some of you went, or if we went all together, or if in the hopes of saving time we split in two, some went to the guild and some went to the Bayrak family. They are within the same city.
Split trauma at this point.
Split trauma, I know, but
Yeah.
all the time you can...
I feel like if anyone has any split trauma, it's you, Emma. Like,
Yeah. Especially.
There is a difference between, like, within the same city going to achieve goals and all of a sudden you're on 3 different continents.
I think also, I mean, if we all go at the same time to each one, it wouldn't take that much longer. Plus, it kind of also conveys the importance of the matter because we're all there as a group.
For sure. You explain that to Saraza, Lorella, and Gareth, and they nod. Okay. Sort of as a collective.
Well, I think I would just say that just to everybody.
For sure. Loran says, All-Star, can I have a quick word, if that's alright?
Brian's like has a moment of look at trauma, but then realizes Lauren doesn't have the look, so he goes with it. But he looks concerned.
I have been thinking. There is something pressing on my mind. And, you know what I'm like? I can't keep anything on my mind for long without saying it out loud. And I know that you don't want us to be apart.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you too, but about that. But you go first.
This has become far more dangerous than at first I had imagined. And neither of us could have foreseen that. There is no... I have no ill will about that at all. That's not what I'm trying to say. But there are people who I care about who are not so easily reached, who could potentially be at risk, I believe. People who are no concern to you and to your group and pose no danger to yourselves, but All-Star, I may need to leave for some time.
What I wanted to say was, I wish that I could just send you home, where you would be safe. If you believe there is a way that you can go, and Karul would not find you, the drow wouldn't find you, then I would agree. Say you should. You should go.
I do not intend to return to Ironstone. Not for long. I'm going somewhere else, but I think for your own safety, perhaps I shouldn't tell you exactly where that is. But should the time come when you need me more than anything, Saraza will know where I am. I need to check something. And once I do, I promise I will return to you.
When are you planning to leave?
I'll come to Kalkan with you. I'll take some time to prepare Sanctum, and I believe that I can use some magic to imbue some objects with the ability to ward you against that same spell, only temporarily though. And once I've done that, I think I need to leave.
Yeah, I'm just sorry about this. I know this is the life that you wanted. And if you can be safe, then please do what you must.
All-Star, and he kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and makes you look at him. He says, Well, Star, the life that I wanted is a life where you and I can be happy together, fucking about in the Feywild. Where you don't have to worry about your parents, you don't have to worry about what other people expect of you. Where I don't have to worry about anything more than how much money my shop is making. We'll get there. Get there. But before we can, I think I need to do this. And I think you've got a lot you need to do as well.
Okay. I think Brian just places his hand on Laran's shoulder as well and just kisses his cheek and then steps back.
Okay. As you break apart and you return to the main group, the rest of you, Sarazu has begun to ready himself, it appears. Everyone else is beginning to sort of make the necessary arrangements, especially with thanking Frederick and Marlena and Merlin for their hospitality. And it appears to be as if they're preparing to leave. Do you also make any
I'm getting my
arrangements?
stuff ready, pretty much.
Okay. As you all reconvene, and Lorella comes down after it appears to be speaking with Frederick for a little while. She comes down with cloaks, it appears, with some extra pieces of armor. So if anybody wanted to disguise themselves somewhat, if anybody wanted to change into more practical clothing, I don't know if anyone's looking for an outfit change. Now could be the time.
How's that armor?
How's that armor? What's your AC?
It's 17 with the cloak that I'm wearing.
It wouldn't add anything to that,
Okay.
I'm afraid. Okay.
It's fine.
If anyone's got an AC of 15 or
lower, I do.
okay, well if you take the armor,
I would only take it if nobody else, or if there's any left after everybody else has had their fair go at them.
everybody else ignored. Everyone else. It appears that as if she's chosen to select armor specifically for protecting perhaps you or anyone who is particularly weak. She herself is already wearing fairly protective clothing, so you can take that and add 1 to your AC.
Okay, I had one already that I forgot to remove from the combat, so I'm going to leave it at 14, because it's meant to be 13 without the combat cloak that we were wearing earlier.
Oh dear.
Cool
would-
content.
Oh,
Weak. That's fine. Go on, please.
When the DM says that, you know it's all over.
Actually, wait a minute. What happened with that? With the ritual combat cloaks that we were given? Do we just still have them, or did we what happened with those?
So, those cloaks were purely to sort of obscure your appearance.
Yep.
They didn't really have many properties to them.
I think you said it added a +1 to your
Yeah.
armor class.
You got
There was
a
something
plus
like
1 armor.
But I
Okay,
also
yeah.
had a +1, I think, because of the cloak that I have written down somewhere.
Okay, so if anyone is still wearing the cloaks, they are literally, they cover everything. They're hard to move around in.
Okay, I'll take the one that's more mobile.
Okay, yeah, so you can swap that off. Anyone else who wants to have the +1, you aren't necessarily well hidden, considering especially that the dunes have seen you in these. So if you're looking for subtlety, this is not where you're going to find it. The other pieces of armor, though, and the cloaks that are brought out, appear to be a bit more practical looking, although less protective, you can tell.
Is there anything with a +1?
Make an investigation check
Okay.
as you look amongst, or an arcana check, or if you
I'll
wish
go.
to-
Arcana would be probably better.
looking for something with special properties.
You could take Neff's old cloak, right? Does the
19.
It's the same It's the same structure. It's
Okay.
It looks like you're wearing a curtain, an all black curtain, which completely covers your faces up to about here. So it's very obvious, quite menacing.
I got a 19 for my Arcana check.
19. I'm gonna say you don't find any cloaks which necessarily have the +1 addition. You do find amongst the objects, however, a very magical item. It's a very small. I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, because you were like thinking magic, and let's focus on that. You find a very small handheld mirror, which appears to be giving off a magical energy tucked inside one of the pockets of the cloaks.
Can I check the mirror specifically?
Are you looking into it?
Yeah.
Okay, you look into it and you see yourself.
Okay. Does it have any properties that I can detect?
It's
or...
you in 20 years now.
There is a illusion magic.
Sorry?
Illusion magic to it. That's kind of what you got from the Arcana.
Okay, can I check it to see what else it does, or do I just...
You'd have to cast some kind of identify spell. Or ask Frederick.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Frederick. I like Frederick.
I didn't see that was in there, but feel free to take it if you find any use for it. We haven't looked at it in many years. It's a mirror which will show you the other side of a decision that you made. Looking back. Nothing in the future, I'm afraid. But if in the past you've made a decision and you want to see what would have happened should you had not made that decision.
We have to get. Sorry.
Chosen a different course, then once per day you can look into it.
Oh, okay.
That'll like fuck you up.
Dude, we need to point it at Randall's face, man. We need to.
You've got to ask it a particular question concerning a decision, like what would have happened if I hadn't, and a very decisive. It can't be.
If you hadn't have met Karul.
Well, yeah.
That's
really
specific.
That's not necessary, but it has to be something that you had agency. It can't just be something that happened to you. Does that make sense?
Oh,
so
okay.
in the moment where you had to make a choice between going left and right, what would have happened if I'd gone
when
left?
you decided
rather
to...
than when
I have 2 questions.
the castle was collapsing and the right tunnel collapsed, what would have happened if I'd gone down the right tunnel? Because that's different. Do you know what I mean? Like that's external factors influencing your decision.
So only stuff that you've had a... Yeah.
I have 2 questions, but I'm just gonna think...
This is really cool. This is a cool item.
I have this in a different game, and I just love it. So
it's Terry's Mirror of Maybe.
Mirror of Maybe.
That's a good name.
That's what I call it.
I have a question.
My favorite item.
Yeah,
you want to ask it right away? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite items were the shovel of burrowing, because I dig up people's backstories all the time, and then also the Mirror of Maybe. But please, we want to ask it a question.
Sentence nasty.
No, I do it by like constantly asking them questions about themselves.
That must be very annoying.
I'm a very annoying character, but I love it.
I love Terry. Terry is great.
Terry!
Okay, I have a question, which is probably not the question you guys are expecting me to ask. Okay, I want to ask, what would have happened if I didn't choose to stab Karul in my trial?
Oh shit.
Oh damn.
Okay, that's interesting. You see various images play out in front of you. You see yourself standing beside Slya. And the way this mirror works is you are focused on reflection, but as you turn the mirror, it's no longer reflecting the world around you, it's reflecting instead the scene. And as you turn it and you begin to see the people coming into view, you then see your father. You see yourself stab your father, and he dies, and you move on. You see Loran, you see yourself stab Loran, and he dies, and you move on. And so on and so on and so on, until you've killed everybody in this group. multiple times over, playing each possible ending, except for Karul. And then you move on with the trial. And there are times when you aren't sure if anything's changed at all. It's as if in fast replay, some timelines play out with nothing happening at all. It's all happening in a split second, but you're able to understand and comprehend all this information. It does get to the timeline with your father, where you see your father dying, reaching out to you as you stand over his form with a mournful expression on his face, tears in his eyes. You see the timeline where your mother dies, you see your father looking at you, holding her tiara, with like a hateful expression. You see the timeline where you kill Shu, and you see all the times that you've been able to make use of Shu's abilities to fly, and all the times you would have been at a disadvantage without that. And it plays on like this until it gets through every single person who you had to potentially kill in that combat.
So if I didn't stab Karul, do I see if he would have still betrayed us and tried to kill us?
Everything else happens exactly the same. It's just very slight moments.
Okay, so everything Karul does is not in reaction to him being... Can I ascertain that?
You can ascertain that.
Okay. Brian looks a bit relieved. Puts the mirror in his pocket.
And Frederick puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, "Don't look into it too much. You don't want to get lost in the past."
I'll try not to. Thank you.
So, with that, you are able to gather yourselves and begin your march towards... Okay, yes, go, everybody.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Let's go with Anna first, and then Astra, and then Slya, and then Neff.
Oh no, I didn't want to say anything. I was just waving back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was waving at Bluey.
Okay, Bluey. Yes.
Okay. It'd be good to find both, but either I'd like to find something that I could like wrap around or like cover both my arms.
Yep. Easy enough.
Or and hopefully a cloak that's practical, doesn't need any armor thing, because whatever.
Okay,
but
there
just,
is
like is different.
For sure. There is a dark blue cloak, which is brought out. It's only a half cloak, so it goes down to your waist, leaving your legs free, unencumbered for movement. You are also able to find some hand wrap in a sort of cream color, look like medicinal, almost like bandages or something. And you are able to just cover up all the way to your to the top of your arms where the red is, without any worries there. As you actually are doing this, you hear footsteps, and you hear, IT, hello. It's Finnegan who comes over, and yeah, and he says, it sucks that we didn't have more time to talk to each other. I was hoping I could catch you this morning, but you seemed really distracted. So, I just
wait. Is this IT talking? My
No,
internet
it's Finnegan.
is not...
Sorry, it's Finnegan.
Oh, this is Finnegan.
Yeah.
What?
IT is back in Melas. I might have missaid. I might have misspoke. I meant to say it's Finnegan.
Oh, okay. Right, sorry. Yep. Okay,
Finnegan.
yes. Tail
Like,
time.
Tail time! I wanted to talk to you, but I don't think... it's in bad time this morning. You're leaving already?
I'm trying to, like, get it all on my arm. And look.
Let me help you. And he starts helping you wrap it up and applying it, and it's a lot neater now. And he's like, since I've become a tiefling, I'm a whole lot more dexterous than I was before.
Cool.
You're welcome.
And he says, Bluey, if you ever want to come back to Melas for propers, you can live with my dad and I. We've got our house back after the siege, and it's pretty good
Oh
now.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I mean, I definitely be back.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
I'm not entirely sure what my short term life is gonna be like. We're gonna try and forge some alliances because
Okay. Oh.
some the people I helped fight in ritual combat appear to or look like they've broken a truce, but they really didn't. So
Yeah.
we've got to like
Okay.
try and either smooth things
Really?
over or be prepared to.
Yeah. But you know what? You know what? You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me anything. I trust you,
Thank you.
and I know you're gonna do great.
Thank you.
Okay. Positive reinforcement. That's what I learned is a good thing when I was in my focus group, the support group that I set up for reincarnated individuals. It was great. Together we sort of talked through the difficulties of becoming new creatures and new humans, such, and we learned that teamwork and cooperation and keeping a level head is what's most important these days and these times. And yeah, I think you're gonna do great. Positive reinforcement.
You know, that support crew sounds like it really suits you. You know,
Yeah,
something
it
that,
does.
you know.
The only person who didn't really take to it was the one who became the drow. But we haven't seen her in a really long time. But you know what? Everyone else seems to be having a great time.
Yeah.
She said she'd be my pen pal, but she hasn't responded to any of my letters.
Oh. I'm sorry, man.
That's okay. I'm gonna figure it out eventually. Do you want me to
Just
pass
like-
any message on to IT for you?
It,
She misses you a hell of a lot.
I miss it too. I want to be back. I want to have the gang back, and
Okay.
that I miss her, and thanks for the drawing.
Oh, she asked me to ask you if I ever saw you come back here this way, if you hold it every night to your chest and think of us.
So if I
If you hold it every night close to you and think of us. I hope you do.
what
If you don't, that's fine. You don't have to tell me.
what do you think that means? Like,
But the drawing? Oh, dude, she's had a bad crush on you for a really long time. I don't know if No. She gave me this book. Let me just show it to you. And he pulls out a little booklet, and it says, and it's a book, and it says, "Dragonborns like dwarf women who like themselves." And she says, he says, I was in well, this is one of the things that she kind of left here, and she said apparently she felt like she didn't need it anymore, and she was going to try and work things out on her own volition, and she did pretty good apparently because she drew you this drawing.
Okay, can you pass this on?
Okay.
Look, same.
Like same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do this motion.
Heart hands. Got it. I'm gonna be in a relationship with every single one of you before this game ends. Neff, you're next.
Oh no! Oh no!
Your hearts are mine.
Oh my god!
Look, same. Yeah. Got it.
This is really wholesome,
Look,
though.
same. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Got it. Oh, there was one more thing I was supposed to tell you about.
Mm.
What was it? There was one more thing I was supposed to tell you about. Okay. So, we're planning a trip to the
Oh,
Tiers.
okay.
A group of the survivors from the siege, led by Marlena, that's what she's been training for, are going to go down into the Tiers and rid it of all the monsters and bad things that we think might be down there. Do you want to come?
If you're going to the Tiers, I think I should be with. We
Okay,
should be with
I'll
you.
talk. Sounds good. I'll talk to Marlena later, and we'll figure out something how we can do a little delay on that, and we'll wait for you to come back.
Yeah, please. I don't think you should go down there.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling about it.
Okay, if you say so. It's just that we feel like it's a.
The arms, the thing that gave me these arms. I still don't understand really what happened. But something's behind the waterfall that involves the arms.
Okay, Bluey, you know what? I think you got a lot on your mind. I'm gonna say, let's talk about it another time. Reach out to me when you're done, and I'm gonna tell you when I tell IT all of this. Okay?
Okay.
Tail team.
Tail team.
You do your little handshake, and in this time, as you're having your conversation, everyone else, you say your goodbyes.
There's one thing I want to do very quickly
Marlena.
before we go.
Okay?
I want to go out of my way to change out of the pajamas that I borrowed from Sobek into my normal dress outfit and give the pajamas back to Sobek.
Okay. Thank you. I will get one of my invisible servants to wash these. He puts them into his endless bag.
Thank you for the assistance.
Oh wait, hang on. Speaking of this, and he starts pulling out like that huge painting and all of the stuff brought from the palace. Like, I mean, this feels like as good a place as any to keep it. I don't. Do you want me to hold on to it a bit longer?
Oh, I recognize all these. Is this what you? Oh, okay. I see.
This is what Bluey grabbed from the inside whilst you were banishing yourself.
Blue, that's really thoughtful of you. Is this an okay place to store this?
I have no idea what you guys think is okay anymore. I just go along with it.
About it. Wait, Sobek, wait, maybe we should ask first, but.
Okay, and he starts putting everything back in. Just tell me when to stop, because I don't even know anymore. Becoming Chrism day by day as time goes on. His voice changes.
Chrism is Sobek's final form.
Wait, no, Chrism is Chrism. That's more of a Chrism. Oh fuck! Oh no, there was a whole thing I forgot to do here.
What? Emma.
Okay, it's fine, I can still do it. As you're all saying goodbye, and Sobek is putting all these back in the bag, hear from inside the castle a loud boom noise. And you guys may seem surprised and shocked, but all of the other winter brands kind of just...
I think I know.
And Frederick says, don't worry too much about that. And Marlena butts in and she says, we have one of the lesser brands staying with us at the moment. Just don't, please, never bring him up. Ever.
Is it Hesterbrand?
You know my uncle?
Harold Hesterbrand?
Yeah.
Does he still supply black powder?
We kind of reeled him in on that after we realised he'd accidentally sold cannon powder to our enemies, and we've kind of made him stop.
Well, if we're going
Why?
into war, maybe we could have some backup powder if he would be so kind to supply us with some.
Frederick says, and he steps in and he says, I'm not gonna lie, I know that he has been secretly building ballistas in our basement. So he thinks it's a secret. I know everything that goes on about here. If you want, we
Wait,
can
I'm related to
organise
Harold Hesterbrand.
just about. You're one of the lesser brands, I must say.
Oh, the realization.
So you know from your family tree, he's on the other side where you're not technically related by blood, more by like misfortune.
Related by misfortune.
Well, we never talked about him.
I wonder why. It does make a little tiny bit more sense to you why he might have been allowed in the Messiah now, considering. But Frederick does go on to say we can organise under my strict supervision, have Harold Hesterbrand build you some ballistas and such, and we will send them through to where are you going, Calcariat. We still have a good relationship with our good friend the gnome.
Oh,
You may not, but we can. So we can send things through for.
thank you very much.
That's okay.
And say thank you to Harold as well. Give him our regards.
He doesn't really talk to us. He just kind of says things, and we have to sort of be like nodding along. So we'll try and convey that message, if he can understand. We hear another boom, and he's like, "Okay, I think I need to go and have a word. All of you," and he turns to everyone. He says, "Stay safe. We'll do our best to keep this shrine intact so that you can return should you need to. And if there's anything else I can do for you, I'll try my best." And before he exits, Loran says, "Can you hold on to this?" And he gives him a folded piece of paper. And Frederick looks at it, and you guys can see on the inside is a hand-drawn circle, which you guys recognize to be a teleportation circle. It says, "We've had a few problems with Word of Recall before." Looks at Neff. "If I send you a message, can you draw this as soon as possible? But keep it hidden until then. I don't want anyone else taking advantage of it." And Frederick nods and he says, "Okay, I will do my best to serve as for you." Alright then. Back we go.
Back we go.
Does Sarazor need to be a horse again?
You are provided with by the Winter Brands.
Okay.
Sarazor seems relieved. You have enough to transport those who need to be transported. Merlin actually goes with you on an extra horse, so that he can return them once you get to the teleportation circle. And you begin riding, and it is about, I'm just going to skip forward, it's about 3 hours later, and you begin to crest on the temple. From its invisible state, it becomes visible before your eyes, and you're outside it. The miniature temple of Kalmantrand, inside of which is the large teleportation circle. What do you do?
Let's go say hi to the gnome.
Let's do it.
Are we all actually disguised again, or
Nope.
we recognize?
Just wearing a nice cloak.
You're not, you're just wearing clothes.
He might not recognize us. It's been a while.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
So,
Neff isn't wearing a
as
fat
you-
suit this time.
Mm-hmm. As you enter in, you see that sitting up on a tall plinth, looking through a book very slowly. I'm going to do some prop work.
Oh my god.
With a shaking hand and a pair of very tiny glasses with magnifying lenses, you see the gnome. perched over, looking down. And as you open the doors, he slowly, from his book turning, goes, "Why have you returned to my home? Have you
We're
not
official
tormented me enough? I'm very deaf, you have to speak up."
We come in peace.
We are official now and request access to your transportation circle.
Do you flash your badges?
Yeah.
Your little sigils? Okay.
What was the thing we'd all said where like we say the assisters in like a native tongue and then like
Oh yeah, disappointment.
Well, now that you're... I think in game you're still the assisters, technically. That's your registered
Yeah.
name, but you can call yourselves a disappointment crew as you wish.
But what did that do?
You do have to. It gives you permission to travel using any official teleportation circle across the
No,
country.
specifically like the thing where we all say the thing. Did that do anything?
I think
or
that's
was
for
that
team
just-
bonding.
I think it was more of just like
Team
a
bonding.
bonding experience.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. I was trying to like remember if that didn't.
There is a different thing where if you say the name of the order of that Sobek works for to someone who you think might work for it, then they have to help you. But that was ages ago, and you've never tried that.
What's the name of his order again?
Order of the Werenback.
Where
And if you want to, if you think someone might work for them, and you want to ask them to demand that they help you, you just say "Hail to the Werenback," which no one's ever done.
Hail to the
Yeah.
Werenback? Did you say? Okay.
Howl.
Howl.
H-A-L.
Howl to the Werenback. Okay.
Oh.
How do you spell Werenback?
I'm writing it down.
Okay.
But obviously that's a whole separate thing entirely.
Mhm.
But when you flash your badges and you say you're the leaders, he kind of like goes.
Mm-hmm.
Stand on the circle. Where do you wish to go? Just get out of here as quickly as possible, please.
Of course. We'll be going to Calcariat.
Calcariat? He's like, people haven't been there in a very long time.
I wonder why.
It'll take me a moment to find it. And he very slowly starts flipperoo from page 1. A.
Can I help him?
Would you like some
Please.
help?
Don't. He stops your hand. He says, "Stand on the circle, please."
We're
A.
very sorry for the
Baby.
inconveniences we may have caused in the past.
What if he sends us to someone else, somewhere else?
B. And he goes on like this for a while, and he eventually gets to J. It's about 30 minutes later. J.
We're just standing there.
Can
J.
This is his vengeance.
Y. It is his vengeance.
Did you ever know the gnome's
Why?
name?
No, you never asked it.
I'm so close to threatening him.
Oh no, it was we did learn it. I just have it written down way ages ago.
Okay.
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
completely forgotten it, not gonna lie to you. He was only supposed to be in it for one session and brought him to a different city. So. K!
I will polymorph you.
No! We won't. We
No,
promise we'll
no.
comply.
Brian.
K! A!
Brian hates the gnome just so much.
Can I use
okay,
Vomit Church?
He's our only hope.
No, it's like,
Oh.
he says to you
Okay.
as you start to talk, he says, "It's okay, I had it memorized anyway. Calcariat," and he puts table, closing the book, not even looking at it. And after half an hour of looking through the pages, you are zoot, and you are standing in
Half an hour.
it's a long time. Oh my gosh, hang on. I can just go back to my heading to Calcan notes and read you the description. Because it's exactly the same place. You have found yourself in the circular teleportation circle room that you first met Hal in, if you remember ages ago. Only this time, where before it seemed undisturbed and empty, you now hear a... Wait, what was that voice like? Oh my god. And you turn around and you see Hal sitting there, like, dumbstruck, and her eyes kind of scan across your group and stop on Lorella, and she immediately, like, falls to her knees and is like, oh, okay. And she kind of looks up from her, like, kind of bowing position, like, achoo! She sneezes. Hay fever. Your Majesty. Your height. And Lorella says, there's no time for this. Please stand. And she goes over and she starts talking to Halal. Halal under her breath. Halal meat.
Oh,
Delicious.
Under her breath in rapid Carnet. I have some words written here. I'll give it a go.
Just rapping.
Okay. Bahazabadia halakalas. And she replies, Yapaka melekadihal. And then that's all I got for her.
Ooh.
I haven't got a lot of Calcarnian written down. Sayatidakfala means I don't understand what you're saying.
Can I understand everything they're saying, or are they too
You
quiet?
can, and she's explaining the situation, and Hal seems to be nodding, and you look around, and before you notice there were those sort of like, occasionally around the room there were those sort of glass ornaments, which were previously a blue color, like the sapphires in Hal's ornamental necklace, the kind of similar one that you've seen Loran wearing occasionally, and those are now red, as if she knew, and they are still red, as they were after the ritual combat.
Mm-hmm.
And Lorella's noticed this, and she says, when she turns away after explaining to Hal, she says, so it is true, the truce is not broken, we still have support here. But I doubt that at this point, I doubt the rebels will believe it. We need to move fast. There is no time to waste. And she turns back to Hal, and she's basically been telling her the whole situation, Neff, and is now asking her to assist them in making their way to the Western Palace, on the western side of the city, where Danuel waits. And she nods, and immediately you exit, and she pulls that heavy curtain that blocked the way out of this temple before. And as she pulls it back, you see that, in the sort of almost week or so since you've last been in Calcariat, people have actually managed to rebuild a fair amount. The disarray and the empty streets, it's been about 6 days. You're pushing on a week. Since you were last in Calcariat, people have managed to start to rebuild the streets, are a little bit more bustling. People around are attempting to go back to their daily business as much as they can. And there is actually a semblance of emerging normality around here. Until, of course, Lorella Karadaman Yazar steps out of the teleportation circle, and everyone knows what she looks like, and immediately turns to her, and she sort of blinks and is like, perhaps I should have disguised myself. And you see people beginning to turn and whisper and look, and they their eyes follow you everywhere you go, and before long, you do have a fair amount of people following behind you, trying to see what's happening here.
I feel like Bluey thinks to like take her old like crimson cloak out and like almost thinks to like throw it on Lorella, but then she's like,
okay.
Oh,
Lorella
maybe
does.
Not.
Lorella, if you offer it to her, Lorella take it, and she does kind of wrap it around herself. But I think the damage is kind of done now. People are starting to look and follow, and you hear whispers in Carnet and occasionally in Infernal across the crowds around you,
Both of
which
which I
are
can
forming
understand.
around you. Both of which you can understand, and it's people saying, "That can't be," and it's like, "But it is," and Lorella Karatman, and then you hear other people saying, like, she died years ago with her family. What about that purple tiefling there? It can't be someone related to her. And you realise they're starting to look
Can I
at
roll a
Nef.
stealth check?
Oh, you're literally walking with Lorella Crowder.
Okay.
But people are starting to follow along. No one seems to be acting with malicious intent, and Saraza, by the looks of it, is 100% ready to fight if anyone comes too close. But people are keeping quite a distance. They just want to see what's happening. And as you make your way across this city, through the main streets, occasionally trying to take back roads to try and shake off some of this crowd, but always seeming to find more people to follow along. You eventually find yourselves in front of the ruins of a large building, similar in structure somewhat to the Winter Palace itself, except far more destroyed, burnt out, partially torn down. As you approach it, you do notice there is that similar shimmer almost that the Winter Palace had when you looked at it from far away. It looks somewhat, now that you know the spell is there, distorted, as if it's concealing what is behind it. And there is a sort of iron gate which surrounds this compound, which has been vandalized since long ago. You can tell based off of how the metal is bent and been salvaged and broken, but the main structure of it is still there, and lots of people are around and watching as you all approach this. You look behind you, and if anyone had to hazard guess of how many people are there, 500.
I'll also quickly say that while we're walking and all these people are
like
whispering like Carnet and Inferno, I'll just like relay to the group who can't understand the whispering that they're not whispering anything like malicious or anything like that.
For sure. And Lorella enters into the compound, and she turns to you and she says, "Wait here a moment, if you don't mind." And she enters in, and you do turn, and this is when you kind of really get a glimpse of how many people are here. And after a moment, you hear footsteps behind you before you can see the people, and out of this magical sort of concealment emerges Danuel.
Danuel, my sister!
Shu?
And Shu.
Oh.
And Lorella.
And well,
None of the Temple of Abundance people have exited, no one else. It's simply them. And as she emerges with the Sphinx sort of leaps up and flies around, finally able to spread its wings, and then comes down to settle by you, All-Star. And Lorella. People are in awe as they see this being. They've never seen a Sphinx of this sort of like domestic sort of size or nature. And as you look around, people are looking at it and in like awestruck, and then looking down at Lorella, Danuel, and Nef are like, wait, what? Like it's almost as if you're looking upon people who are in awe of what's happening. And Lorella takes your hand, Nef, and takes Danuel's hand. And she looks out to the crowd.
Just before she does this, can I quickly grapple hug Danuel?
You can. And Danuel's like, oh, okay, and she hugs you back. Seemingly very relieved to see you all okay and unharmed, as far as she knows. And Lorella puts her hands on either of your shoulders, and she just looks out to the people, and she says simply, "The dynasty lives." And
Bluey cheers.
around the there's a sort of moment of silence, and then around the from the group of people who have gathered here, you see similar cloaked figures to Zanel beginning to make their way to the front. And after a while, you do in fact see the one-armed, sword-handed figure of Zanel herself come to the front, and she looks to your group, sort of in shock as she realizes the connection of you coming to her hideout and the conflict, it appears, coming to an end, or perhaps just beginning, and bows before Lorella. And eventually, all the people begin to do the same. And after some time, Lorella moves into the crowd and begins to greet the city watch, the city guard, and you know that you have their support. And she thanks the people who've come this far. And she enters into the palace, and the crowd begins to disperse. And you enter in as well, and you see that there are essentially everyone you left from the Winter Palace is still here. And Loran pops up the sanctum. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. As you make your home in Calcariat in the Western Palace, knowing that you have the support at least of the City Watch, knowing you need to get the support potentially of the Guild Masters, potentially of the Bayrak family. You're all reunited. Is there anything anybody else wants to do before we wrap up the session? Because we have a little bit of time.
Did you say Western Palace?
Yes. So the Winter Palace is one section, and the Western Palace is another.
The western one is all cowboys. Yeehaw! Saloons.
Yeah.
Yeehaw Saloon! Yeehaw Game Ranch!
Everybody's got cowboy hats. The wild, wild west.
Awesome.
Cowboy cloaks. Cowboys wore dark blue.
Yeah, boys.
I think.
Can I roll some knitting checks?
Sure, yeah.
Oh.
Well, actually, if you wanted to do that after you arrived, you wouldn't actually have time because Lorella is going to want to go immediately after you
Oh, no,
guys have settled.
I meant like while like conversations and like the setting up of the word of recall and like whatnot.
Sure.
How many could I have gotten in that time?
We'll go with 2. Considering it wasn't like the main thing on your mind.
Okay, so hilarious thing. I rolled 2 16s, and then with my bonus, that's 21s
Yeah.
for both of them.
You're getting whatever you're doing. You're getting a good way through it. You probably only need a few more checks to finish.
Okay.
I know this was brought up earlier, but I'm not sure I heard properly. Has Slya told the group that she's going by Slya now?
Yes, that was retconned in a couple of games ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
It would have been on our way to the ritual combat.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've got to retcon what Blue is thinking on one aspect, but
Oh.
I think because I've been like, oh, she'll be so like she's been so focused on fighting that she only just noticed that Slya's just or Astra's like looks a bit like taller or something. Like, is it her hair? And because like the hair's dyed
Black.
Yeah.
black. It's like, no, it can't be that. I don't know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's all. That's all, folks. I can't wait to look back on this where there's a stable internet connection and I'm not like entering so many tunnels.
Everybody's
like,
all good in my end.
I actually have one tiny thing I want to do before we leave.
That's fine. We have time.
Could I step outside the sanctum and scry on Lucas?
Yes, you can.
Just want to see how he's going, what he's doing.
Okay. You don't feel any resistance. As you scry, your vision pans up and over towards the Maasai. Landscapes go from sand to grass to snow. But they don't go as far in as you would expect. You know the ports close to the Ice Palace are international. And whilst not much goes out of the country purely for bringing produce and supplies in, the docks are fairly busy, and you see Lucas in that similar practical clothing. This time, he has a what's it called? A falchion attached to his waist, a baldric around his chest, and he's carrying a hat under his arm. And he's walking across the docks, and he's talking animatedly to what appears to be 3 or 4 foreigners, or 2 of them appear to be Maasaian, and 2 appear to be very dark-skinned, tightly curled hair, wearing green clothing you don't recognize where they could be from. And as they talk, he nods in a direction. They look over and see there are about 10 ships, large ships, sort of docked up, which are transporting goods and such onto the docks of the Maasai. And he turns one of the men around, one of the men who appears to be kind of like shaking, and the other foreigner is a woman who's kind of like shaking her head, like, and he says something to them, and they roll their eyes and they nod and they shake hands, and they start moving towards the ships.
Okay. Just random little question. Have I seen Elia with him at all? The cat?
You haven't, actually.
Okay, cool. Okay, he pops back out.
That was really bad. I can't do it. Oh well.
Multiple popping noises.
Multiple voices. Anyone else? Neff?
I'm all good. I'm just following
Okay.
wherever Daniel and my mom are going. And I'm looking back at the group and just kind of sort of making eye
Okay.
contact with everybody, but kind of looking away at the same time.
Okay. Alright, I think we'll play this out really quickly. I think Neff, Daniel pulls you aside when you're back inside, and she goes, oh my gosh, hang on.
Daniel. It has been so long, my sister. I need to catch her up on the shit that I've caused.
Neff, I wasn't expecting you to be gone so long. I was a little bit worried, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping that you guys would be back real soon, and I just started to think about all the bad things that could have happened to you.
I needed to inform you of the situation. How much do you know about what's going on?
Nothing. Literally, you guys just got here like a minute ago.
Okay, so, and then Neff is gonna sit down with Daniel and pretty much explain in detail everything that she and Bluey went through specifically, and then from what she gathered from being told regarding the interaction with Karul as well, and try to kind of mostly summarize that and explain it to Daniel.
Okay. With everything that you tell her and everything that happened, she stops for a moment, and there's like a look in her eye, wonder whether perhaps she's going to have the same reaction as everyone else. And instead, she puts her hands on your shoulders and pulls you in for a hug, and she's like, you made a mistake, but like everybody makes mistakes, and you're here now.
That might be true, but this might affect a lot more people than I've ever could have conceived initially. We'll have to work to fix this, I think. I'm sorry, Daniel.
Well, from the way you've described it, these 2 events seem actually kind of separate. It's just bad timing. Think about it. The reason that this man attacked them wasn't because the Sphinx wasn't there. You just maybe got cut off their like really easy exit, which is kind of bad. So, don't blame yourself for our country now being on the brink of war. Blame yourself instead for putting your friends at risk. How's that sound?
Okay, I think that
And then blame this other bad man for bad things that have happened.
Well, regardless of how much blame
I'm really smart, you know.
is due, I think I will at least hope that they will accept my help going forward in trying to make amends and repairing the damage that is being caused currently, and preventing it from getting too much worse.
Okay. Anyways, so I'm going to just have a real quick conversation with my best, biggest crush in the world, Brian.
Oh, no.
I will talk to you once you've calmed down a little bit and once we've planned what we're gonna do next, okay? And lol, it's too good not to do it. She turns towards Brian. And I'm like, we're gonna leave it there. Actually, let's not.
Actually, okay, Brian's with Shu, just like being very pathetic and loving towards Shu.
Okay. Hi.
It just looks like, oh, hello.
I just wanted to say, I understood that leaving Shu with me was a token of your love and affection. I'm not gonna tell Loran, I'll live in your own time to talk to him about that. But shall we get married, like, I don't know, tomorrow?
Just give me 1 second.
I technically think, like, Slya and, like, Neff could, actually technically marry us because they're, like, religious.
Okay. Brian looks like he's collecting himself. He's like, okay, how much taller is Daniel than him?
Oh, like 4 inches.
Okay, he's gonna stand in front of her as confident as he can. Just say, Your Highness, I really appreciate your affections.
Good, so do I.
I think you are a wonderful person. You seem very
Me too.
intelligent.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and kind, and you have a lot of love to share around.
I'm glad you think so too.
Okay. Unfortunately, I am not. It is not you. It is the simple fact that I am not attracted to women, and I am very sorry. I hope we can be good friends.
Oh, why didn't you just say something earlier? I'm sorry, I must have made you feel so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, Brian! And she gives you a hug.
Okay.
We could have avoided so many problems. Wow, this would have been royal bad.
Oh my god.
Brian's very shocked at the hug, but then he just pats shoulders.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense now. Because obviously, if you liked women, I would be irresistible to you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. So, and she starts looking around and she says, well, I can't see anyone else I think I want to marry here, so I'm gonna save myself for someone I really love and someone who likes women as well.
Yes, that is a good idea. I do have a cousin who you may meet at some point, but otherwise I think you should find someone who loves...
You have a cousin? And she immediately And with her professions of marrying for love and then perhaps meeting your cousin, I think we will leave it
Lucas
there.
is attractive. Okay.
This is true.
Not Hester Wren.
No, not Hester Rand.
No, he's in his like early hundreds, dude. He's old.
How old does Danielle look?
Older than Neff, about 25.
Why are all these people hitting on Brian?
24.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
actually younger though, right?
No,
Oh,
she's middle sibling. You're the youngest.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
And the baby.
Yep.
Oh.
Ural is the oldest. He's in his 30s. And then I can tell you the exact ages once I go through the timeline and do some maths. Then mid-20s is Danuel, and then you're like early 20s.
All right,
Woot
cool.
woot. Good
What
content.
an end.
So glad
This
that's
is
over.
great. Great.
Over and done with.
That was resolved in such a nice way. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. Very
She's
wholesome.
not gonna force herself onto Riot.
She's very forward, but reasonable, I guess.
Yeah. Please don't fight people.
Well, the reasonable up to the point where, like, if the
She was gonna
person
fight Loran and Bluey.
she's
so.
interested in, she thinks has, like, the possibility of being attracted to her, then obviously they are wrong and she is right
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
I will say, when Brian said he wasn't attracted to women, there was a spark in his eyes as he had a tiny recollection buried deep in his brain of Elaine. And he was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say you had a moment of I don't swing that way with Loran back from when you first met him.
Oh, he's
And then you go and
like-
recommend and then you go and recommend an alternative just like he did. You have the two become one.
Oh no.
was the
Brian's
was the
learned
I
bad
don't-
habits.
Was the I don't swing that way something that had actually changed, or was it something that was realized?
So what happened
was-
was Loran, when Loran first met All-Star, because Loran and All-Star were the first in the game, the first NPC that All-Star ever met was Ran, obviously, and his good friend Kitas, a little gay gnome, no, a little gay dwarf,
Door.
and Kitas is like a burly pirate man, if you haven't seen in many moons, and then Loran is Loran, and All-Star. Oh, what did you say to him?
I went up to no. Loran walked past.
Can I have like a
Right.
ride on your ship or something?
No, he said, "Can I hitch a ride with you?"
Oh yeah, can I hitch a
There
ride with
wasn't.
you? And then
There
Loran
wasn't
was
even
like,
any specification.
yeah, can I hitch a ride with you? And Loran was like, I don't swing that way. My friend Kitas might.
It was a
Might
lot
be
more
up for it.
animated than that and traumatic.
Yeah.
But yes.
It was Considering this is the first D&D game Lily had ever played.
Emma, when
Yeah,
are we
I
gonna?
was crying for 5 minutes.
Ha ha ha.
And yes, Loran is great.
Emma,
like to
when are
think
we?
back on the
When are
fact-
we gonna see the return of the paper goatee?
Turn of the what?
I've seen pictures. I've never
was
never
felt- it was-
experienced it.
It was felt. I told her
It
not
was
to
a
wear it
felt.
though because I couldn't speak to her when she had that on. Like I just could not get words out. It was too good.
It's unacceptable. We have to have a return of the paper goatee.
Oh, that's shitty.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh. Wow.
My outfit today is very Loran, actually. My outfit today is very
I can
Lorraine.
imagine walking around with his little goatee and his kissy lips, like.
like hot Squidward. Like, you've seen that film?
No, not hot Squidward.
Please stop.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh,
The
I'm
real
really
reason
upset.
Brian's sending him away.
Yeah.
Everything is
I
cursed.
was I had like 3 levels of every time Dart asks to stay. Like, like how many times he would try and put up a fight before giving in to you wanting to keep
No,
him
no, no.
close.
I can one up you. I have a whole thing of why you should leave.
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't have to do
Love
it.
that.
Oh.
That's so weird that we
That is
both
weird.
thought of that at the same session.
Yeah.
Because literally, hang on. I'll read. Do you know what? Because fuck it, I'll read you what I had. Because this is never going to come again.
Yay.
Woo.
I love getting behind the scenes.
Yeah. I have so much stuff to show you guys at one point. It says, All-Star, I may have to leave sometime. If we are able to go through plans, I will need to secure supplies and enter discussions. This was if you guys had wanted to take the 6-month break. And then there was like, okay, All-Star rejects him again. Okay, we're going to go a bit more personal. It'd be like, also, I need to see my parents, and then something I can't tell you, because that's one thing. And then first rejection, All-Star, I know you want to protect me, but I have people I need to protect as well. I believe that you are safe here. Sobit can do a lot of what I can do. You don't need to worry about me. Second
Okay.
rejection, All-Star, we've been through a lot. I understand what they're saying. This is something I must do, and it gets deeper and deeper until, yeah.
Oh god.
I know.
You do remember that Brian did say, I will never let you stay or you. So.
You
Yeah,
cut
I
out a
think
bit.
I kind of forgotten about that, not gonna lie.
Mhm.
But it's gooch.
Who's
anyway,
the
it's
dice
really late.
person?
For sure. Real late for some of you, so I'm gonna say.
Actually, oh, sorry.
No, go and tell me.
I had a little like minor thing to say to Neff, but like some of it ended up getting said anyways. I think
For sure.
maybe at the start of like next game, while Ryan is, with Danuel having that discussion, Slya
Yeah,
might
you guys can
take Neff aside. Yeah.
Sounds good.
for sure.
Looking forward to more
Right then.
trauma.
Yay!
Well then, until
It's not
next
traumatic,
week.
I promise. Just
Let
Let
drama.
me just check.
Oh.
Next week is the 2nd. Yeah. Next week I'm definitely good to go.
Whoop, whoop.
Could we possibly play on? Oh wait. Next week we're not playing your game, are we?
Nope.
Thomas. So next week, do you mind if we play on the Saturday instead of Sunday?
I don't think I can because I already accepted a
Okay.
work shift. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We'll do That's fine. We'll just keep the Sunday then.
Do you want to do it
Alrighty,
earlier,
dudes.
or do you want to keep it later?
Let's keep it. Let's do 11.
So half an
No,
hour
no.
earlier.
Half an hour earlier. So we start at 8 for you guys.
That's fine.
Just a quick heads up. I can always change to any day, so long as it's at least 2 weeks in advance that the change is made. Because I usually work every day that I don't have D&D. I'm sorry.
That's
No.
fine. No, it's that's fine because we only have a week anyway, so it doesn't matter. We'll do Sunday. Sweet.
Okay.
I will try my best to make next Sunday. But I have 2 assignments due that night.
When's Georgia coming back?
I don't know yet.
Okay, because she's finished apparently.
Yeah, but we've been in talks about that. So
Yes.
probably not next week. Probably the week after.
Okay.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'll try and give you like heaps of advance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing, dudes. All right then, I've got to go do some work. So I will see you next week whenever we end up doing it for
Bye.
alliances and hand
Cool.
hearts.
Yeah.
Bye, dudes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.